Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I am Kris Randazzo, and joining me tonight is not guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree, Dan Ryan.
Yet.
The end of May is here, and as always, the dawning of a new month brings along with it the 10, 20, 30, 40, where we discuss notable game releases from decades past. Will the doldrums of summer leave us with yet another uneventful month? Don't get your hopes up, because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. I opened, I think, 2 windows looking at what games were on the list for today, and they were not promising. Hi, everyone. This is episode 517 of the week. It's the week of June 7th, 2024, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from retro gamers' perspective, as well as whatever the heck else is going in on our lives, or going on in our lives, if you're speaking English.
Either way.
And speaking of which, how are you? How are you now?
Oh, man. So it's been a week, Kris. It's been a very interesting, emotional week. So I'm going to get it out of the way now, so I can potentially bum everybody out and then hopefully make for the funny later on. So on Sunday, Tiff and the girls have been sick for a little while. Like a week, just like stuffy nose and sore throats and like lots of coughing and all of that stuff. And I usually don't get very sick, right? So earlier in the week, or earlier last week, right? So we're recording this on the 31st. So like
right
on the 20th or whatever, or like the 18th, somewhere around there. I went to Tiff and I was like, you guys are sick. I've had a sore throat for like a couple of days, just like a low level sore throat. And I was like, but what's really weird is that the nodes on one side of my neck are like really fucking swollen, like what happens when you get sick, right? And I was like, man, that's like, but like noticeably swollen, like turn my head and I'm like, yep, there it is. I can fucking see it and I can't see it on the other side. That's weird. And Tiff was like, let's keep an eye on that. It's just never what you want to hear. So keep an eye on it until this past Sunday. And the girls are still sick and I'm still with the sore throat or whatever. And there really hasn't been too much change in this lump on the side of my neck. I'm like, all right. So she, we make the decision. I'm like, all right, Monday, everything is closed. I'm off of work. Urgent care is still open, though. I'm going to go talk to the doctor about this because this just, I'm just going to go talk to the doctor. So I go to the urgent care and we go through and I get some blood work done and everything's okay. I'm a little bit anemic, which makes sense that I have low iron because I don't eat vegetables because ew, gross. They're disgusting. And I don't want them. So like that makes sense. But as I'm talking to the doctor, I'm like, all right, like, so, but like, what are we looking at here? Like, what's going on? Because I know the question I have. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, so you going to make me say it? Like, I'm like, all right, so what are the chances that this is me catching lymphoma early? She's like, well, it's not a 0% chance. And I was like, well, fuck, that's just not what I want to hear. Right. And she's like, I'm going to give you some antibiotics, and I want you to take, a round of antibiotics for 10 days. She said, most of the time you get swollen lymph node on one side. It's not a big deal. You're fighting off an infection, viral, bacterial, whatever. She was like, we ran a strep test. You don't have strep throat. You don't have mono. And I was like, fuck, I wish I had mono. Never wanted mono more than in that moment. And she was like, follow up with your doctor in, 10 days or whatever. I was like, well, see, here's the thing. You don't know me. So I am walking out of this office and I am convinced. That's it. I have lymphoma. I have leukemia. I got some form of cancer, right? I'm 100% convinced as I walk out of this office. Fuck, man. All right. What am I going to tell the girls? What am I going to tell Tiff? What she said? What am I going to tell my family? How do I say it on the podcast? Like all of these different things that start going through my head. And I get home and I talk to Tiff about it and I'm starting to like fucking break down and shit. And she's like, what are you doing? It's like, preparing for my fucking future and all. She was like, stop it. You're going to make an appointment with your normal doctor. You're going to go in and get a second opinion, and we're going to figure this out. She was like, did this doctor say that you have lymphoma? I said, oh. She said, most of the time this is what it is. She was like, all right, well, why are you acting the way that you are? I said, well, because I'm me. I don't watch hospital shows, right? Yeah, I don't watch ER. I don't watch Chicago Hope because I will have a gunshot wound. Nobody shot me, but I will have one. There was a time I was like 22 or something like that, and my Aunt Sandy came to visit, and she told me a story about this guy that she worked with, young guy in his 30s, who he and his wife got up of a Saturday morning, and the dude went in to, they sat down and they had some breakfast, and then they were going to go out and do couple things for the weekend or whatever. And dude went in to take a shower, and or the wife went in to take a shower, and when she came back out, her husband was dead on the couch because he had an aneurysm. Something popped in his brain. That was it. He died while she was in the shower. And I got to tell you, for a good couple of years there, not years, good couple of months anyway, I had the worst headaches I've ever had in my entire life. Because as soon as she told me that story, I was like, well, I figured out the way I'm going to go. This is like, that's the level of crazy I am. And I gave myself like these fucking crazy headaches. So anyway, this woman tells me this, and I'm like, all right, let me make the appointment with my doctor. So I go to see my doctor on Wednesday, and we go through the whole thing, and she's like, look, at the end of the appointment, I'm going to send you for an ultrasound. We're going to do an ultrasound, and just to be careful, just to be sure. But if you would come in here presenting this way, I would not be sending you for an ultrasound. You are a crazy person, so I'm going to send you with one. And I was like, yes, I know, but this is the type of thing that's a wait and watch anyway. And she was like, no, I know that, but she said, I can't say, I'm not going to say. I'm not cocky enough to be like, no, it's nothing, you're fine. But, we can do a teleconference follow-up visit or whatever. So, on Monday, I will be going to get an ultrasound of lymph nodes in my neck to find out if they are indeed cancerous, which is a fucking wild thing to say out loud. I don't think that they are. I don't know that they are. On Monday and Tuesday, before I went back to my doctor, I was 100% sure that they were. They've gotten better throughout the week. They are nowhere near as inflamed as they were. They are still there. Like, you can still, if I turn my neck, you can still, like, oh yeah, I can see that there's like a little bump and a little ridge out there. They're at the point now, though, where if this is how they had been the whole time, I don't know that I would have noticed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would have been like, because, like, even scratching my neck, I wouldn't have been like, oh, that feels weird. it feels maybe a little bit like my neck is a little tight, like the muscle. Mm-hmm. Like I probably just would have thought that's all it was. So, but we'll find out, I suppose, on Monday, because what's going to happen is that I'm going to go at 3:20. And it's what's really cool about it is that it's also Tiff's birthday. Sorry, it's Chat's birthday on Monday. I forgot we were calling her Chat. So it's her birthday on Monday. So for her birthday, we're going to go get an ultrasound on my neck, and either the nurse is going to go get the doctor or she's not. And that's going to be a fucking incredibly nerve-wracking experience, because this is how old we are now, Chris. Yeah. And shit pops up, and it's fucking scary, dude. Like, it's fucking scary, man. And even if I almost said at the end of the day, but I didn't want to be a typical New Jersey person. At the end of the day, it is what it is. There you go. Even if it turns out to be a cancerous lymphoma, right? Even if that is what it turns out to be, I'm not necessarily. That's not. It's weird to say it, but like, it's not the worst possible thing in the world. It's treatable, it's beatable, it is all of those things. And like, I just need to know if that's the road I'm going down, I
do.
Pretty wild.
I get being a bit of a hypochondriac. I don't think I'm quite the hypochondriac you are, but I do
it's pretty nuts.
I do sympathize. Like, I get myself down some rabbit holes. Usually when I'm going to bed at night, because you lay down,
and
your body just starts, doing stuff.
Things
just move around, or I have issues in my neck all the time, like with around where my glands are. I can always feel them, and they swell up all the time. Probably mostly because of allergies. So I frequently think that's it. I have cancer and I'm going to die. But
yeah, and that's probably what it is for me. The allergies, not the cancer. That was a bad time to jump in there. It might be.
That's the thing. Like, the doctor you saw just told you that there's more than a 0% chance that you have cancer. And that's literally every day of your life.
Of course it is. That's literally every person on the planet. That's not a fucking actual thing to be worried about.
There is always a greater than 0% chance that you have cancer on any given day.
Of course.
Just is what it is.
And I'm relatively sure that that's the thing that's going to get me at some point. Not to put too fine a point on it, but that's what's gotten everybody else in my family. So, that's probably in the future, but I want it to be a decent amount in the future.
I got a bouquet of weird shit that's gotten my family, so I'll never see it.
It'll be a fucking surprise.
It's gonna be my Uncle Ed. Granted, he's not a blood relative, but my Uncle Ed,
sure,
he went into a hospital for checking up on something else, and they were like, "Nah, you're fine." And then as he walked out of the hospital, boom, fell over and died. Still didn't know why.
Oh my god!
They never bothered doing an autopsy on him, because my Aunt Sharon was just like, "What's the fucking point?" Oh no, we found out what killed him. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. That's what I thought. But yeah, no, he went in for one. He went in for nothing. Got a clean bill of health, wild. And as he was walking out of the hospital, just fell over dead. All kinds of wild shit has killed various members of my family. So yeah, I don't know. It could be cancer. My sister beat cancer, so maybe it won't be. I don't know.
Yeah,
my mom has the slowest cancer imaginable right now. The doctor, I forget how the doctor put it to her. She's like, all right, this is going to sound like really bad news, but it's not as bad as you think. You have cancer, but this is the kind of cancer that you're probably not even going to notice any symptoms for a decade. It is the slowest moving cancer in the world. And considering my mom's age, it's just this might not even take any years off your life.
Right.
It's one of those kinds
of
situations.
Your mom's in her 60s, right?
She's 70.
She's in her 60s?
I think she's She either just turned 70 or is turning 70. God, I'm so bad at this.
Oh.
My mom. People are.
My mom is in her 70s, and she has had breast cancer, and both of my grandmothers died of lung cancer. Now, the caveat to that is that my maternal grandmother died of lung cancer after smoking 3 packs a day of unfiltered Pall Mall cigarettes most of her life, since she was like, I mean, she didn't smoke 3 packs a day when she was 11, but like she started smoking when she was like 11, and she died in her early 70s. And then my paternal grandmother technically died of lung cancer, but it was a year and a month after my dad committed suicide. So, like, did it really? You know, like, she didn't fight any of it. She didn't, like, she kind of just gave up, you know, and I don't mean to chuckle at that. It's just, it's been so long for me that it's like, she gave up, you know, like Ani just gave up. She died of a broken heart. You know, technically it was lung cancer. My grandfather had lung cancer as well. But he also had 2 strokes and, like, was going through a whole bunch of other shit and, like, heart attacks at the end. Like, I don't know if it's exactly what got him, but, it didn't help. It didn't. It's just, it's weird because, like, and I said something to you a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about your friend, and then we were talking to John about it because his wife was diagnosed with cancer. It's just like, it does put things into perspective, and it's just weird. The timing of it felt really weird, which doesn't help my neuroses around it, you know, of like, oh, Chris' friend, and then we were just talking to John, and, you know, Patrick, who's been on the show a couple times, his wife is going through shit, blah, and like all of this stuff just compounds, and just having to even have those thoughts and that conversation is like, fuck, man, really are not in our 20s anymore. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, no, we are not young.
It's really, it's just a weird kind of perspective thing. And then so all of that happens, right? And then today Tiff and I came to the decision, and this is also really weird because we've known it's been coming for a while, and we have decided, so by the time we record next Friday, it'll already be done. We've decided that next Wednesday will be the day that we are taking Benji into the hospital to put him down. Because he is old, and he is not in pain yet, but he's certainly not comfortable. You know, and what really solidified it this week. So, like, all this other stuff is going on, and then there started to be this realization that crept in because Penny gets up at like. She wakes the rooster up. You know what I mean? Like, she gets up fucking early. And usually when she gets up and she starts rustling around, the dogs that are downstairs start, fuck, somebody's up, somebody's moving. Are we pissed? Do we know this smell? Okay, everybody's cool. But like, they have an out loud conversation about it. You know, they bark a little bit. And Benji usually sleeps right fucking through it. Usually doesn't bother him. And she has, you know, she'll get up 5:30, whatever, without an alarm. She just fucking wakes up and she'll go downstairs and she'll, you know, get some breakfast or get a drink or whatever she's got to do. And she'll go back upstairs, and it's usually not a problem. She'll go back down around 6, let the dogs out, the whole deal, right? That's usually her morning routine. So for the last like week and a half, she's been going down at like 5:30, getting breakfast, going back up into her room, and Benji has started barking. But not in a like, hey, I noticed that somebody is up, but like a panic bark, like something is wrong, to the point where it's woken me up every morning. And I went down there last Thursday, a little over a week ago, this happens. And I go downstairs and I'm like, Benji, it's fucking 5:30 in the morning, dude. What are you barking about? And he looks at me and he stops barking. I'm like, all right, dude, shut the fuck up. It's early. And I go back upstairs and he starts barking again. I'm like, oh, God damn it. You got to go out. And I try and let him out. He doesn't have to go out. Fine. Fuck it. I'm up. I'm down here. I'm just going to sit on the couch. And he calmed down. Right. And I was like, huh, that's weird. But I wasn't even thinking about it because I was just tired. And the same thing happens Friday. I go downstairs. What do you need? You got to go out. You don't eat this early, whatever. No, you don't have to go out. Fine. I'm just going to lay here on the couch. Okay. And he stops barking. So then over the weekend, it dawned on me that the reason he's barking is because he doesn't know where he is. And one of his people came into his vicinity because he really can't see very well at this point. So one of his people came into his vicinity and he could kind of see them and he could kind of smell them, and then they went away. And now he knows that he's alone. And he used to not care about that, and now he does, and he's scared. And the barking that he's doing is a panic bark because he has dementia. He licks surfaces now, which is like a sign of dog dementia, like if they lick your couch a lot, or they lick the rug or the floor or whatever. And it's just like watching him kind of slowly deteriorate over time is not a thing I'm super into. As far as fun things to do, watching this dog who I love dearly slip into a puddle of scared mess is not 100% what I want to do. And it's weird, like he's worse at night, like he fucking sundowns like a human. It's very odd to watch him go through it. So the unfortunate part of it is that he's still himself a lot of the time. Like I come home from work and the tail is wagging. He doesn't really jump off the couch anymore. He kind of slides off the couch now because he's old and his legs don't work really well. It's just this whole big fucking thing. So we're like, all right, when can we get him to the vet where Doc at Tiff's vet, who did the surgery on him like a year and a half ago, and just fell in love with him. Like everybody just loves Benji. He's one of those dogs you meet and you're like, wow, this fucking great. Jesus. Why aren't all dogs like this? He's amazing. I'm like, all right, when is Doc going to be there? When are the other people going to be there so we can bring him in and he can, he can see everybody, and that'll be that. I'm like, fuck, Wednesday. All right. So picking out a day, being like, all right, well, we got that on the calendar. It's fucking weird. It's been a week, Kris. It's been a fucking week, man.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like a week. That's different from my week.
I don't know. Should we have done that off the air? I feel like it's good to do it on the air, mostly because, one, it's cathartic and all of that stuff. But two, like I know a lot of our listeners are around the same age we are, if not a little bit older or a little bit younger. And eat vegetables. Go to the doctor if you feel weird lumps.
Yes, that is all good advice.
It's weird. It's a weird place to be this week. While also trying to play video games and celebrate 34 guilty convictions and continue reading, because I've been doing a lot of that, and trying to do all of those things and go to work while all of this other shit is going on is man, really doesn't seem worth it. I should just stay home today.
Yeah, we slightly celebrated last night, and because don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, because who knows what evil lurks around the corner. I mean, yes, yay, but at the same time, like, it could all disappear tomorrow, and he could just win the election, claim himself a dictator and immune from all prosecution, and then our lives are all over. That could happen. So
that is certainly a possibility.
It is certainly a possibility, and a very terrifying one. But when I went out and grabbed some blizzards from Dairy Queen before I recorded Wave Back last night, it's just like we had to do something, right? Got to do something. Got to celebrate the small.
We got empanadas. We found this really great empanada place with a Peruvian lady who makes all the food, and it's fucking incredibly good. It's fucking cheap. It's cheap. We got like 12 empanadas, and it was like $30. Like, really? Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's
amazing.
That's some value right there. Nice.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good. So good.
Well, I mean, let's see. We had a Memorial Day party. Right, we did that. We had people over for Memorial Day weekend, and it was nice. It was lovely. It was it was the day it thunderstormed. Right, it was gorgeous weather on Sunday, and then gorgeous weather on Tuesday. But Monday, when we had the party, that was the thunderstorm shit day. So the party was mostly inside. Didn't stop me from grilling.
Fuck your barbecue.
I still grilled. I still did it, but it was Also, everybody brought food. We got burgers and dogs covered. We got burgers and dogs covered. So we bought a bunch of burgers and dogs and a watermelon, and then everybody showed up with way more sides than anybody could ever eat. And then we wound up with all this leftover burgers and dogs. So that's all frozen now.
That's awesome.
Fun. It is pretty awesome. No, but it was a really good time. And I set up the basement as this little arcade area. I have all this shit, so why the fuck not, right? And so I set up...
You have an arcade machine.
I do.
In the arcade area.
I had that playing X-Men, and then I had Wii Sports up on the CRT, playing original Wii Sports, and then on the big TV, there was Smash Brothers going on for a good long while, and then eventually I got all my friends... I got enough people together to do a proper 6-player local Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge, which I've wanted to do since it came out. So it was really my first time playing with the DLC too. I hadn't really messed with Usagi yet because I just didn't really have anybody to play it with. But I'm having a party, so everybody came down, and we had a big match of that. And while we were doing that, 2 of my other friends were playing Captain America and the Avengers on the arcade cabinet.
Oh, nice! That's awesome.
So it was fun. The neighbor girls were over earlier than everybody else, and they came downstairs, and they were unfamiliar with Wii Sports, so I got them playing bowling, and they were just having a fucking ball. Just having Wii Sports up on the CRT, great. It went over so well, all day long. It was just kids grabbing it and playing another couple of rounds, and it was a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's such a great game. It's just a great game.
Yeah, no two ways about it.
It holds up. There's nothing but a good time to be had.
Hard agree. And it wasn't even Resort with the Motion Plus. It was just regular old Wii Sports on a CRT. The classic.
Yeah.
God, it's weird calling that a classic now.
I know. It is, though.
It is. It's old as shit, just like we are. So I think that was pretty much it. Besides, I've been working on trying to crank out the last of my reviews. I had a bunch of reviews to write this month, and I got my review written up for the Vampire Survivors DLC and for Pac-Man Chomp Champs, which I tried another time before writing. I was like, this game does absolutely fucking nothing for me.
Just nothing.
Somebody posted in our Discord today that it's there's never been enough people playing on Steam at the same time to fill an entire match.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does. You hate to see a Pac-Man game that's at least a good idea go down like this, but it's just a big swing and a miss. This Pac-Man game is not.
But it's just not good.
So the other one that the last thing that I needed to play for review, and I'm not that far into it. I don't know how much farther I'm going to make myself get into it.
Okay.
Is Lunar Lander Beyond, which I was kind of stoked about, right? Because it looked interesting. I don't. I'm trying to think of what's the best way to describe this. It's like this game is all right. So the original Lunar Lander, I had never played it before Atari 50, right? I had never experienced Lunar Lander in arcades, and Atari 50 rolls around, and I play Lunar Lander, and I'm like, okay, I get it. This game's. I don't think it's intrinsically fun, but I understand what they were going for. I see the draw of making this like really difficult to land thing. You have to learn the mechanics. Like, I understand why this is fun to some people, but I also understand why when you think back to like the big Atari arcade games, at least in my experience, Lunar Lander never came up because it's not one of the ones that most people look back fondly on. It's a niche game. It's a cult hit. It's not Asteroids. It's not Missile Command. It's not Centipede. And it's never going to be because it's not accessible. Like at the fuck all. So what I really like in Atari 50 is Vector Sector. We've talked about that before. Where Vector Sector is that game that does Asteroids, Lunar Lander, Battlezone, and Tempest all in their own unique ways. And what's awesome about Vector Sector is that's how you do Lunar Lander fun. Like, that Lunar Lander segment in Vector Sector is legit fun. Like, it's basically Lunar Lander, but they made the controls easier to understand and more useful. Because part of the problem with Lunar Lander is that, you do something that you think should work, and it just doesn't. You just have too much inertia going one way, and there's nothing you can do about it. They really just fixed it to make it more of a fun. It still obviously requires lots of patience. It's still Lunar Lander, but it's also they took fun into account instead of just how do we make this a pain in the ass, and that's the game to eat your quarters.
Right.
So when playing Lunar Lander Beyond, and it's not anywhere near that, it's more like the original arcade game where the controls are just an exercise in frustration. It's kind of a big hit to me. Like, it's like, I want this to be fun, right? Like, I got it, back when you released this original arcade game, because it was a different time. But like, here we are in the world where the Atari Recharged games exist. Something like this shouldn't be like this. And it's not like it doesn't introduce interesting new mechanics. Like, one thing that I really like that they added is this stabilizer button, where if you're kind of like, your gravity push is kind of going out of control, or you just have not a tight enough grip on what's happening around you, you can hold this button that'll just stabilize you and just basically slow you to a stop in midair. Which is nice. It's a very useful thing to do. The problem is it eats up fuel like fucking crazy. In fact, everything in the game just soaks up fuel. So, like, obviously fuel was always a part of the problem, and you want to pay attention to that stuff, but this goes just one step a little bit too far into the whole, like, okay, well, now you've taken out the fun, because what you've done is you've made these new expansive levels that you're supposed to want to explore, but you can't explore them because you don't have enough fuel to explore them. And like, maybe they're aiming for some sort of Metroidvania type thing where you go back and explore them later, but it doesn't seem that way, or it certainly isn't setting itself up that way. The other problem with it is that its gameplay boils down to basically just Lunar Lander, right? There's not a whole lot happening there in the gameplay. They've added a few other things, like collect a couple of things here, or fly through these targets real quick before you go and land. But between levels, there are these, like, there's a whole lot of cinematics happening. Like, there's a lot of story and voice acting that's just being thrown at you, and like the animation feels really like, I don't know, almost fan game-ish. Like it doesn't really seem polished. The script is pretty interesting because the AI that's talking to you through most of it, like they were clearly, these people have played Portal and they're trying to do GLaDOS and they're not failing miserably. Like writing wise, it's not as clever as Portal, but like some of it's pretty close to as, like they've said some really callous and awful things that are just said earnestly like GLaDOS would say them, and it's like, right, yeah, that was kind of funny, but I don't know, the tone of the game is just kind of the whole tone of the game isn't. The writing in Portal was incredibly clever, and so was the game. Yes. Whereas this is just like, all right, this is a very simple arcade concept filled with these relatively long talky bits in between areas with, weirdly designed characters, and there's just an awful lot going on over not much. And it doesn't add up. It doesn't all coalesce in a way that makes me happy. Like it does not make me want to play it. And that's
that sucks.
You want. You want it to make
that's
you
definitely not what you want.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, obviously I need to put some more time into it because, like, you want to find out, does this get better? Does this fix itself at a certain point? Does this become fun? And obviously you want to take that into account, but also, should I have to play through like 7 hours of a game before it gets fun? Like, yeah, no. No, I don't feel like I should have to earn the fun. I feel like this is an Atari game, and for better or worse, this is the type of experience that they've cultivated, the instant gratification arcade style. You pick this up and it's fun because that's what it is. And so when I pick this up and it's not fun right out of the gate, then I'm kind of immediately turned off. And that made me sad because I really liked the idea of taking one of these older properties and expanding on it in unexpected and interesting ways, like trying to turn something like that into something that's not just a slightly modern take, but still very arcade classic, but just actually trying to take one of your simple arcade concepts and build lore and a world around it and make it into something that's legitimately modern. And I don't think they really succeeded on that front. So, yeah. I don't know.
That's a bummer.
A little bit of a bummer. Not the end of the world. It's not terrible. It's certainly not bad. And you can certainly tell that some effort was put into this. Like I said, the writing is quite clever, but it's not the game I was hoping it would be. Right. And I don't like writing negative reviews. Like, I did not enjoy writing that Pac-Man review. Like, I really enjoyed Pac-Man.
It's Pac-Man. You want to love Pac-Man.
Yeah, massively multiplayer online competitive Pac-Man is a great idea, as proven by Pac-Man 99.
It sounds like it.
That is a great idea. And it's just kind of a bummer that they nailed it, but then they didn't. they nailed it, but then they took that one down and put this new one up, and it's like, well, this isn't as good as the one you took down. Stop that.
Maybe it's all like a ploy to get people like excited to play 99 when they put that one back up.
Oh, I wish. See, I think 99's too tied to Nintendo. So, like, it's just like Super Mario Brothers 35. They're just like, no, this is dead forever. You had your chance. You enjoyed it. No more. Like, but no, we would pay you money for this. We pay you good money. Come on, let us play. Like, no, I don't want your money.
No, you can't have it because I said so.
We got no good reason other than fuck you. No, go lay down. Nintendo is so weird.
Leave us alone. We're sleeping. Leave us alone. I feel like they're very Prince of the or King of the Cosmos.
Right.
Like that's a very Nintendo stance to take. Just all of that dialogue. 100%.
Mondo P. I have to say, on the little gambler thing that we're doing right now, I'm doing really well on my phone. I just won $10 on a 10-cent spin.
That's very exciting. Love that.
Gamble your money away, kids. It's good for you.
That's right. You should gamble.
It's good for you and your country.
Gambling is awesome. That's right.
So, obviously we have a lot to talk about, but I have 3 minutes before this thing goes off, theoretically. It won't go off any later than 3 minutes from now. So I'm not ready to mentally move on to the next thing that actually requires my concentration. So do you have something
we're
that
not
you can
going
talk
to
about? What do you got?
Yes. So I mentioned last week, I think, that I had picked up Balatro. Yeah. This roguelike deck building poker game. And
25.42. It just popped to 25.42.
Fuck, man.
Weak sauce. This is usually closer to $40. 25? Get bent. Online gambling. Anyway.
Not even worth my time.
$25.
Man, this game is fucking wild, dude. Because it's just poker, right? At the surface level, it's just poker. But when you start to add all these elements to it, and it's so fucking smart, right? If you think about, I'm going to make a deck building roguelike kind of card game, taking poker, which is something that is very familiar to a lot of people, and if you're not familiar with it, it's relatively easily learned. It's I don't know what four of a kind is. I don't know why you wouldn't know that, but I don't know what a full house is. Sorry. I don't know what a full house is, right? Be it's three kind and two of a kind. Okay, well, there you go. Now it's a full house. Is DJ there? Anyway, Stephanie? Not even her? What about Uncle Joey?
I'll take either. But you know what I mean? It's of the Michelles.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I just want to talk to somebody. Even if you don't know what the fucking hands are in poker, it's pretty easy to learn, right? It's a pretty simple game. But then you start putting all these other effects into it, and it just becomes this unwieldy beast that is so fucking addicting. It's just really, really fun to play through, and you kind of start. The game does a good job of introducing you to a lot of the basic mechanics, and then letting you figure the rest of them out as you go through, and you start kind of figuring out what your play style is going to be, and if you're going to invest in jokers that have multipliers or conditional multipliers, or if you're going to invest in planets, these planetary cards that permanently level up different types of hands. So I had a run the other night where I was playing for a decent amount, and I think I had gotten my full house. I think I'd leveled that up to level 14. So, you the goal of each round is to score whatever the amount of points is, right? And it starts off the first three hands are 200 points, 450, and then 600. And then by once you get into the 20th one, it's score 500,000 points in this first one. It's well, fuck, that certainly escalated. But you can get there because you can just get these crazy combinations and multipliers and ways that you can manipulate your own deck. You can add cards to your deck and take cards out and change cards to one particular suit, or make them a multiplier, or make them re-trigger themselves when it starts to count the points, and all of these different things. And then all of that is kind of the randomization comes in when you're playing the different Joker cards, and all of the things that the different Joker cards can do, and how some of the Joker cards are good really early in the game because they'll help you get through some of the early challenges, but they're fucking useless as you go through, because your multiplier just isn't high enough at that point. And it's it's just this incredibly deep and thoughtful and thought-provoking game. And then you start to be like, oh, well, I can rearrange the order of my jokers up at the top to manipulate the multipliers. And when I play the cards in my hand, if I have a certain card, like if I'm playing a full house that has, 3 kings and 2 queens or whatever, and my kings have a particular multiplier effect on the card, well, then I got to make sure that I play that card first, because that's going to tie into this joker that's going to re-trigger it a couple times. And you're like, oh, just all this stuff is going on, and it sounds incredibly complicated, but it's really not at the same time, which is just kind of the wild thing about it. Katie started playing it, and she was like, oh, she doesn't know fucking shit about poker. Apparently her and her friends play blackjack at recess, which is weird. It's kind of a weird thing. She was like, oh, is this anything like blackjack? And I was like, no, it's not like fucking blackjack. And why do you know what blackjack is?
Well, we rolled dice in the alley behind the school.
Yeah. Our friend Mary plays it with us because she likes card games. I'm like, well, Mary's a degenerate gambler, and I like Mary. But, Katie watched me play a couple rounds, and she was like, oh, I can totally do this. And she started, playing through it and digging it. It's just this really, really awesome game that I think if you ever get a chance, you should give it a shot. Just to see, it's got... This is going to sound really weird, and maybe I'm way off base. It's got that same kind of quirk that Vampire Survivors has, where you're like, all right, this is a roguelike where I'm min-maxing things, and I'm figuring out what this run is going to be, and I'm building up this multiplier and that multiplier. It's got a very similar kind of concept behind it, except it's done through poker. It's just really wild. It's really, really good.
Okay, well, I'll add it to the list of things to try.
And it's pretty cheap, too. I think I picked it up for $11 or something like that. And I have, in the 2 weeks or week and a half that I've had it, 100% gotten my $11 worth. It is really, really awesome. The other thing that I started playing this week is Animal Well.
Talk to me about Animal Well.
I don't know how to describe Animal Well. It's this weird fever dream puzzle platforming Metroidvania thing that is so much more than that. It feels like, I don't know, I haven't finished it. It's incredibly striking as you're playing through it. Tiff hates that every game I play now is like a fucking pixel platformer. She's like, all right, we get it. It's cheaper to make them this way. Sure. Fucking move on. We have a PlayStation 5. Why are you playing Super Nintendo games?
Because they look awesome.
They do.
Chat.
This game, they do. They look great, chat. Shut up. This game looks like even older than that. It doesn't even look like a Nintendo. It looks like a Commodore 64 style game, which is not a system that I have nostalgia for, but it looks like that very early PC kind of. It's
weird because it does, but it doesn't. If you're looking at a still
because at the same time it doesn't at all. Yeah,
it animates. That's the thing about that's why I like so much about a lot of the modern pixel art games is that if you're looking at them perfectly still, they could be mistaken for an older game. But once you see them in motion, they animate and have effects that older systems never could have had. And so, that's one of the things that I found so striking about what I've seen of Animal Well in videos is
the color palette lighting that's there and stuff. It's just
the old systems
wild,
couldn't do that.
It's just wild, and it's so clever the way that it's introducing things that you're expecting in a Metroidvania, right? You're expecting a certain amount of combat, you're expecting certain skills to get at some point you're going to get the double jump, right? Like, when do I get the double jump? God damn it. I see the ledge I got to get up to. Where do I got to go to find the jump boots or the high jump or the whatever the fuck it's called in whatever Metroidvania you're playing. Here, you get a bubble wand. You don't get a double jump, you get a bubble wand. So you can jump and shoot out a bubble and land on the bubble. But the bubble starts sinking a little bit. And if you jump off of your bubble and land back on it, it's going to pop. So you got to jump and shoot another bubble. And so, like, that's your double. And it's like, oh, this has just opened up an entirely new form of platforming for me. And that's really awesome. And what's really cool about it is that right before you get the bubble wand, there is a section of the game where you go into a room and it's like 3 screens high and you walk into the middle screen and there's just 3 rows of bubbles or 4 rows of bubbles or whatever. And it's like, oh, I guess I can jump on these bubbles. Fucking sweet. And you jump on these bubbles, and if you miss, you fall all the way down into the water. And you see there's like these weird, like creepy fish that are down at the bottom that are blowing the bubbles that you're jumping on. It's like, oh, okay. So it shows you how you're going to use the bubble wand before you get the bubble wand in a natural progression through the level that's just so fucking clever. It just really fucking works. It's just nuts. It's fucking wild. And it's blowing me away. And I can't even like fully put into words why I love it so much. You know, which is frustrating as a podcast host. Like, I wanted to, like, play it, it's good, is really all I've got, though. It's, because it's got that wild, like, trippy art style. The color palette's great. It animates really well. The music is interesting. The visuals are just fucking striking, from the level design to the character design to the animals that are in there are all just fucking wild. I got eaten by a dog and like shook and thrown. It's just fucking weird. There was another part, right, where you're going through and like you pop down into this level and you see a dog and you're like, all right, well, fuck. I don't have any weapons. I have fireworks, but the fireworks don't work on the dog. They work on these other weird, like, little sprites. If I shoot a bubble wand at the dog, he doesn't give a shit. And I didn't have the fucking frisbee yet, or the disc. Sorry. Frisbee's a trademark, I think, that you have to pay for. So I jumped down and the dog... I'm paying shit. The dog, like, comes chasing after me, and you run, and there's, like, a little notch at the bottom of the screen where it's like, oh, that looks like a secret area. And indeed it is. Good. So I go down into the secret area, and you start, like, bouncing around, and you go through, like, this little platformy section and puzzle section, and then you get back up, and you flip the switches and do all the things that you need to do to bring you back to the other side. Well, and then you get to another type of room, and there's a different dog. I was like, oh, that's cute. It's a wiener dog this time. That's fun. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump down here, go in that... I see the little notch. Totally fine. I'm going to go in, avoid the dog. It's going to be just like the other thing. Except it's not, because it's a fucking wiener dog, and it goes down into the hole with you. So then there's a whole, like, fucking maze that you got to run through as the dog is, like, chasing you, and its body is in, like, this weird deformed state as it's going around, like, all these curves and shit. And it's like, oh, I was totally not expecting that, because you already taught me that the dog can't come after me, but it's only the bigger dog that can't come after me. Now this little one can. And it's just like there's this constant update of information and gameplay and progression throughout the levels that is really, really satisfying. It's fucking stunning. It's incredible.
Yeah, I keep hearing that this game kind of defies description.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why this little blob that I'm controlling is doing any of this. I don't know why it came out of a flower. I don't fucking know. I know that I got a frisbee, and I can throw the frisbee, and I can ride on the frisbee, and that's fucking awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's another one that's on my list of things to play, without a doubt. I really want to try it. I wish I was trying it now. I wish I was in a position to have more time to play it now. I really haven't been playing games outside of just the handful of things I had to review. I just haven't had any time lately. It's been like Thursday I did yesterday. Well, shit, that was yesterday. It was field day at Ellie's school, so I was working field day with the kids, and that was an absolute blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super fun. There's just too many parents are just freaking negative Nancy's. They're just so negative about everything. We're talking about how the teachers aren't doing good enough with their kids, or they're not handling their kid being bullied the way that they should be. And I'm like, you know what? I've had nothing but good experiences with the teachers at this school. They don't always get everything right, but it's never occurred to me that they aren't trying their best. And like, I see that
it's a hard job.
It's a hard job, especially when they have to deal with people like you, and like they have to tiptoe around themselves because of people like you who are constantly ready to make everything everyone else's fault except for your kids. And like,
and you have to work around the fact of like we went into the girls' school because the boys were sexually harassing the girls. It's not the fucking teacher's fault. It's not the principal's fault. It's the fucking parents' fault.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the school. You fucking raised your shitty little boys to be able to even have the slightest thought that it is okay to walk behind young girls moaning and thrusting at them in the hallways in public. That is not a school problem.
That's not a school problem.
And you can't then go yell at this, well, you're not doing enough. Like, I mean, you're not. You should have beat those kids. Like, we should definitely bring back beating of children in those instances. But that's not the fucking school's fault. I get it, man. It's hard.
Yeah. So, like, we're out here trying to have a real good time with these kids. And, some of the other parents that are around are just like, meh. Like, well, how about we just focus on having a whole lot of fun here today? How about we just do that? And it was weird because we were working. Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go finish.
I was working at a station that was just for the littles. I think we just got kindergarten and first grade, and there was a couple of classes where I couldn't get any energy out of the kids at all. They were just like there, and it took me a little while to get them going. I kept having everyone scream. I kept like the first rule you have to follow for this lacrosse pickup. The first thing you need to do is scream as loud as you can. And then, like, the kids would kind of look around and, like, look at their teacher. And I'm like, no, I'm in charge. You scream when I say scream. You ready?
I said scream, you fuckers.
I said scream. Scream as loud as you can. And then, that got a little bit of energy going. It was really funny seeing, like, which kids and which teams were, like, in it to win it and which ones were just there because they had to be.
It's sad when that shit starts in, like, kindergarten, right?
Yeah. It's like, wow.
Like, oh, man, you're already not a joiner. That sucks.
We're picking up balls with a lacrosse stick. Have a good time. Make it work. But that was really fun. But what else? Well,
and that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like the thing about that is that, like, if you think back to your memories specifically of like elementary school, but probably even like middle and high school for a lot of it, like, what do you remember about school? Not like the shit that happened while you were in school, but the school time specifically. It's field day. It's that assembly you had. It's not like, oh, this one day Mr. Schlaptyback gave just a fucking riveting chemistry lesson. Like, that's not at all what anybody fucking remembers. You remember the time that the dad came and told us all to fucking scream when we were going to go do it. Like, that's the fucking memories you're building. So how dare these adults come in there and do anything to jeopardize that? Because it's about that fucking core memory. Like, don't bring your bullshit in here.
The entire point of being there was to show these kids as good a time as possible. At least that's what I figured my job was. And like,
that
everyone
is 100% the job.
So somebody at a station next to me was complaining about how, like, the schedule said these kids were supposed to be here at this 15-minute mark, and oh man, this thing's falling apart. I'm like, do you not see what's going? These people are herding cats. Like, Do you not see what's going on? The fact that this school isn't on fire on a daily basis is a fucking win. And I said that almost exact thing to the principal as she came rolling around. She was, looking around, looking things out of order. I was like, look, the fact that this school is not on fire on a daily basis, I consider a big win. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, like, you ever try to get 86-year-olds to do something that you want them to do all at the same time?
Absolute
it's
madness.
Nonsense. Yeah. Crazy.
I do have one more interesting story that happened this week. That it was a strange thing to even come up, but it wound up being a lot of fun. So a friend of mine, his brother and two of his friends wanted to start a podcast. So he asked me if his brother and his friends could get in touch with me to like ask me questions, because he knows I've been doing this for fucking ever. And I was like, of course. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm technically a professional, right? You have to do things for a certain number of hours. I think we fucking qualified, Dan.
I do think so.
Hours? What's the number of hours you have to do something to be an expert?
Probably like 5 years ago's worth. I think we're good.
Like, you do something for 500 hours. Like, well, we've crossed that threshold.
We crossed that like in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
our listeners are fucking professional listeners at this point. You're welcome.
I was like, all right, yeah, I'd love to. So they wound up getting in touch with me. I gave them my number, and they got in touch with me. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to take you out to dinner and pick your brain about how to podcast. I'm like,
I like where this is going.
I'm getting wined and dined.
Well, first thing about podcasting, let me introduce you to a concept called docking. Show you what that's all about first.
We went to a restaurant called Docks.
Did you really?
We really did.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's absolutely hilarious. So yeah, they start talking to me about like taking me out to dinner, and they're like, oh, so what does everyone want to do? Where do you guys want to go? And I'm like ready to suggest, like, I don't know, take me to fucking Chili's or something. I'm not hard to please.
Taco Bell,
yeah.
Chipotle if we're feeling fucking fancy.
So they suggest this place called the Docks Place in Summers Point, and I looked at the menu, and there's like a dress code, and shit's like really expensive, and I'm like, ugh. I mean, are you sure? Like, are you sure about this? And they're like, yeah, no problem. So like, these guys do not live in the same world that I do. Right. One of them's a doctor. One of them's like a steel worker, and like, these guys have some money.
They run in a different circle than we do.
They run in a different circle than we do. And this is it was a very odd thing that they took me out, and I'm looking at the menu, and they're like, so what's everybody getting? And they're all like, oh, it's ever since you mentioned this place, I've been thinking about the New York Strip, and I'm like, ooh, I could go for a steak. And I look at the price on the menu, and I'm like, are you guys sure about this? Like, yeah, get whatever you want. I'm like, really? Because like, the New York Strip sounds really good. And he's like, yeah, go get the New York Strip. It's fine. It's a fucking $55 steak.
Whatever.
I'm like, all right, cool. Let me tell you, I love steak, but I would probably never personally pay $55 for a meal. It just seems like too much money for food.
You're like me. You can't enjoy it when you spend that much money.
But I enjoyed this. This was a $55 goddamn steak. It was a dry-aged 14-ounce New York strip. I asked for medium rare. They nailed it. Topped with a cracked black pepper garlic brandy reduction. Served with mashed potato and vegetable of the day. It was so goddamn good. I don't know that I've ever had steak that good before, right? Because like, I've eaten steak at like Outback Steakhouse or Applebee's or something.
No, that's good. Shit. It's good, but it's shit.
Good. It's better than I can cook it at home. But this this was something else. This was something else entirely. Oh my God. It was so good. I've been thinking about this steak for like a day and a half.
I had steak like that. I think I mentioned it on the show when Tiff and I went to see Lewis Black in Atlantic City. We went to Bobby Flay's Steakhouse in the fucking Borgata or Bellagio or the whatever the fuck hotel that we were in. And that meal, for the two of us, it was close to $300. But I was given the money to spend. Yeah. Like, dinner was part of it because like I said, you're like me. If I go to a restaurant and the girls really love Joe's Crab Shack, and the one by us is closing because, of course, it is. We're not close to the sea. We're close-ish to the sea, but like Deptford, New Jersey, is not a coastal town. So anyway, like I know refrigeration, whatever. It's just not the same. But like, if we go to Joe's Crab Shack, Tiff and the girls will get like all the crab, and I get fish tacos because it's already going to cost me $200 fucking at least at Joe's Crab Shack, and I'm just not going to enjoy the food that much. I will enjoy my $13 fish tacos, you know, because it's $13-$14. Like I can enjoy that, but if I get the steamer thing of crab and it's like $60, I don't like it. It's not going to taste that good. But this shit at Bobby Flay's Steakhouse, that is the only meal where I've ever looked at the check and been like, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know. That was so good. It's the kind of restaurant where like you sit down and there is a fork and a knife on the table. There's no salt. There's no pepper. There's no steak sauce. There's no nothing. Because how dare you suggest that you would need it? And it's the kind of place where, like, if you ordered it above medium rare, they might punch you. You know, like, no, we're not doing that. Fuck off.
Flat out refuse.
Like, when I tell you that they brought this steak out, and it was filet mignon or whatever the fuck it was, and they brought it out, he didn't even need the knife. Like, that's how perfect this fucking steak was. And you take a bite and you're like, okay, I get it. Yep, I get it. And this is a Bobby Flay Steakhouse in an Atlantic City casino restaurant. Like, it has no business being that good. But yeah,
that's kind of how I felt about this. And also, the company was quite lovely. They're very different. Like, they just seem to exist in a pretty different world than me. You know, I got there and I met them, and they immediately started talking about what happened on the most recent Joe Rogan podcast, and I was like,
"Oh, nope, not okay. A great sign."
This is not my world. But you know, they're here. They wanted to ask me things, and I was like, what am I going to tell these people? Like, what do we do? And then it turns out I had a lot to say. They had
funny things.
There's a lot of little stuff that they didn't think of, or that they didn't really understand how it was going to work, and you know, how do you actually get the podcast online? And they're doing a video thing, and they were like, well, you got to think about what's going to be behind you. Like, they're talking about these different locations, and I'm like, okay, but is it just going to be a white wall behind the three of you? Like, it's going to look a little weird. It was a lot of fun conversation. They're real nice dudes. We had a ball hanging out and laughing, and you know, they thought it was very funny that I ordered pineapple juice, but that's me. That's what I do.
And I love that you just like don't change that ever. It's fucking great.
I wouldn't dream of it. I fucking love pineapple juice.
I know. I can't drink it. It gives me canker sores.
Oof. Oh, that's very unfortunate. I mean, I get it. Like, pineapple's pretty acidic, but oof.
I have one right now that, you know, unsurprisingly, because I've gotten them my entire life. Even when I was like a little kid, from like too much acidity or stress. And I've had a pretty stressful week. So it was like, yep, that tracks. That's right on time. All right, last thing before we throw to commercial. I have finished in the last couple of weeks. Well, I finished one and I've started another. I finished a book called Fantastic Land that I think everybody should read. because it was really fucking awesome. It is the story of a fictional theme park in Florida that is the victim of just an absurd hurricane, right? Like, this is the hurricane for the ages. Like, fucking Michael Bay will make a movie about this hurricane. That's how bad it was. And there's about 240 people that stay behind in the park because they have this like thing set up to where staff will stay. They have emergency shelters, and they'll stay there in the park for a couple of days, whatever it's going to be, you know, to make sure the park is okay, that no looters come into the park, that sort of stuff. And they're going to get paid while they're there, right? And these are all theme park employees. So it's some older people, but mostly like teenagers, kids in college, that sort of thing. And they are there for a little over a month. And it goes Lord of the Flies fucking instantaneously. And it is fascinating. The way the book is structured, what was so cool about it, or what I thought was so cool about it anyway, is that the author wrote it as a series of responses to interview questions. So, like, you're reading the person's response. It'd be like Sally Jones, who was this person in the park, who was affiliated with this group, because they all break into little groups, right? Like, the dudes who worked all in the pirate section of the park, well, they're called the Pirates, and they all went over to their section when they got out of the tunnels. And all the dudes and girls who worked in the Futureland, they called themselves the Robots, because, like, everybody formed fucking tribes. Because, of course, they would. If you take teenagers and 20-something cell phones away, they're gonna fucking lose their shit and form tribes and start killing each other. Like, it felt so natural. But like, so you're reading it and it's just the interviewer's questions are taken out, and you're just reading the responses, which was really cool, except for like one chapter where the leader of the pirates, who end up being like, and it's pretty early on, like as you're reading through the book, it's like, ooh, these pirates are going to be a problem. And then you get to a section and you're like, oh, fuck, I knew the pirates were going to be a problem. When you read the interview with the leader of the pirates, that is presented as the full interview. And it's a really interesting, like, way that they do it and why they do it. It's really, really cool. Just a fucking nuts book. Very highly recommended. Fantastic land. And then I immediately started after that this book called Starter Villain, that is written by John Scalzi, who I like quite a bit. I read something of his last year called the Kaiju Preservation Society, which was just fucking wonderful. This guy's an incredible writer. He's so fun and so funny. This one, Starter Villain, the main character of the story is this dude named Charlie. He's like in his 30s. He got fired from his job as a business reporter. He is now substitute teaching. He has no money. He wants to just open a pub. He wants to get a business loan to buy the pub in the town where he lives, so he can just own the pub and sit behind the bar and make people drinks, and that will be his life. And his uncle, who he doesn't know, because dad and the uncle had a falling out a long time ago. Mom is gone, dad is gone. His uncle Jake dies and leaves him the family business, which Charlie thinks is parking garages, because that was the public face of his uncle's villainous, evil businesses. His uncle was a villain, like a Dr. Evil, but without like the goofiness, like more of a James Bond kind of villain who is worth billions of dollars and is at odds with this other group of villains, and they all have cats, and the cats, some of them are like super secret spy cats, and there's fucking talking dolphins. and the Dolphins are threatening a labor strike. So there's like union negotiations with the Dolphins. It's fucking wild. It's hilarious. It's very, very funny. Starter Villain, very good book.
Okay.
Trying to grow as a person, Kris.
I'm not.
Fair.
Nah, I've just been exercising. I did after my trip to go visit Mike and Rouchy. That did get some good exercising tips, and I hate them. But I've been doing them
I know.
every day.
I've eaten fucking spinach every day this week because my iron is low, and I could buy supplements and vitamins and piss them out, or I could fucking just Popeye my way through it. So spinach it is.
I love spinach. I put spinach on the pizza I had for dinner tonight. We tried this. Karen bought this like rotisserie chicken for a broccoli pie that she made earlier in the week. It's a chicken broccoli pie. It's fucking delicious. It's not very filling, unfortunately, but it's just a really, really delicious dinner. But there was a whole bunch of extra rotisserie chicken left over, and we were trying to think of what to do with it tonight for pizza. And she came at me with this like garlic spinach chicken pie. So it was like roll out the dough, put pizza sauce on, then we did a couple of bulbs of roasted garlic, the rotisserie chicken, everything bagel seasoning, and fresh mozzarella. Then after that was all done, which put a bunch of just covered the top of it with a bunch of baby spinach and let it cook for another like minute, and it was outstanding. It was so
that sounds awesome.
Good. Really, the everything bagel seasoning. I didn't see that one coming, but that really tied that shit together. It was so good.
I'm into it.
I had too much of it tonight too. Usually I stop at 3 slices of pizza every week, but this, nope, not tonight. I went back for a 4th because I couldn't take how good that shit was. It was so tasty. But with that, we're gonna take ourselves a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about week-old news, what's new at Stone Age Gamer, and of course, we're in E3 season, baby. So we got things to talk about. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new in the gratuitous rainbow spectrum at StoneAgeGamer.com.
First up,
delete that. There you go.
This month's Nintendo report. We take a closer look at Nintendo's franchises that begin with the letter E and see just how they're doing these days. It's a strange one indeed, as many series that seem like no-brainers, honestly, in terms of popularity, like Earthbound and Excitebike, are stuck without any new entries for literal decades, while the likes of Endless Fuck Ocean are flourishing like fish in the ocean. Will we ever see Eternal Darkness again? What the heck is ever Oasis? Find out in the Nintendo report, Eternities, Excitebikes, and Electroplankton.
Delicious. I had electroplankton on my steak.
It's my favorite kind of plankton.
Top 10 for sure. Next, in an all-new 16-bit brawl, it's rematch time. Yes, by popular request, I'm revisiting the X-Men to put X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super NES against fan-favorite X-Men 2 Clone Wars for Sega Genesis. Mutant Apocalypse soundly beat the snot out of the original X-Men game on Genesis, but can it hold its own in the face of this overwhelmingly beloved Sega Genesis classic? See how the dust settles in 16-bit brawl rematch X-Men 2 versus Mutant Apocalypse. Now look, I meant to talk about this last week, but we were going long with John, so I didn't really bring it up. But when I went to go visit Mike, I played Mutant Apocalypse. I actually played both these games with him. Because, like, one of the things that people kept saying on commenting on my video was like, oh, that's X-Men 2. Hands down. It's not even fucking close. X-Men 2 is a masterpiece. It's got co-op. This game is so fucking cool. You're going to love it. I was excited. I was legit stoked. It's like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to bring X-Men 2. I'm going to play it with Mike. We're going to have a blast. And I'm going to see what all this shit is about. You know what X-Men 2 does? It fucking blows. I'll let you read the article to hear how, right? I went into detail. I gave that game every chance, right? I gave it all the benefit of the doubt. I was very generous to it in the scoring. But that game is not good. It's just not. And I don't understand what this just a pure, rage-filled... It's not even a fucking question. X-Men 2 is so good. That game is awesome. No, it's fucking not. It's really not. I'm not saying Mutant Apocalypse is a 10 out of 10. It's a really cool game. It's got its flaws. But this was not the blowout I was expecting. I was very upset when I played this game. Because me and Mike, we put some time into it. And we were like, man, this is not good. What is going on? Because we were both stoked. We were ready. It was Mike's copy of the game. He owned it. I own it too. We're ready. Let's do it. Let's jump in. X-Men.
We played both copies at the same time.
Just one for each eyeball. It was great. Nah, man.
That's right.
Game sucks. Anyway, sorry.
I would argue that there is still not a good X-Men game that captures the X-Men. Like, I love the beat 'em up. I love the fighting games. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't know that I would go so far as to put those the dungeon crawly ones. I don't know that I would say that is a good X-Men game yet. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's a really good point. It's a really good. I feel. See, X-Men 2 had a lot of really good ideas in it, and so does Mutant Apocalypse. If you could combine those two games, like that's a real fucking winner. But I digress. Podcast for another podcast.
That's right. Finally, Chris.
Finally. After you're taking up all my time.
Done.
Dan.
That's right.
Talking about X-Men 2.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
What are you doing?
Oh, I had to belch. I apologize.
That's your mutant.
Because
power.
I am in fact a father, Chris. I'm a dad and I burp. I am not in fact though. I don't know if you know this about me. I don't know if I've hidden it well. I'm not a radish.
If there was ever voice acting added to Daddish, you should do it.
I would love it. I would do it for fucking free. I don't even care. This fact that I'm not a radish, but am still a father, makes me certainly inferior to Daddish, and is possibly the single greatest video game character of all time. I do have, however, one thing I can lord over everyone's favorite radish dad. I am great in both 2D and 3D. Even 4D. That's a podcast for another podcast. Whoa. In an all-new Stone Age game review, Kris dives into the world of Daddish 3D, a polygonal update to one of his favorite pixel art series of the last few years. Can this series thrive in the third dimension, or does it fall victim to the same pitfalls so many other 2D games did in the early 2000s when they went 3D, like Pitfall? Don't miss Stone Age Gamer Review, Daddish 3D.
For all this and more, be sure to check in with the gratuitous Rainbow Spectrum. Click the blog icon at stoneagegamer.com.
Click the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
All right, everybody, we are back. And we are ready, invigorated with vim and vigor and vinegar. It's time for what's new at Stone Age Gamer.
And
it's been a hoot of a week at Stone Age Gamer. This is week 8 of still waiting on the Power Base Minis. Week 8, not counting the original request for them back in September. But since we started counting here on the show, we're in week 8. I'm sure they'll be here any day. I was assured that they would be in the mail today.
Oh. It's a good place to be.
I've been holding my breath since this morning, which makes doing this podcast very difficult, but, We got the Fenrir Duo. Fenrir Duo ODE for Sega Saturn is back in stock, as well as our restock of PSIOs. They finally made it. Thank you, DHL. We have been shipping out orders, but you still have to go through the absurd update process, even on these new units. That's right. The new units we got are not up to date with the current firmware. They need to be They need to have their registration taken from Stone Age Gamer and then re-registered at PSIO in order for you to get the update. It is not our fault. I am sorry.
I'm not.
But we are also running 2 giveaways that end on June 20th, or around about June 20th. We're giving away a Hunter controller, the Retro Fighters controller for original Xbox, and the Atari 7800 giveaway is still active. That one ends also on the 20th. That is for an Atari 7800 console with a controller, the Mega 7800 adapter, the 7800 game drive. Like, it's a pretty serious, awesome giveaway. If you have not entered to win that one yet, you should totally do that. And that's what's going on with Stone Age Gamer. That's what's new and exciting this week for us. And you know what that means, Dan?
I do.
You know what that means. It is time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment. Strap in for Week Old News.
I'm strapped.
Welcome to Week Old News. Oh, you're strapped. You goddamn strapped you are. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago. You know what? As I was editing the show last week, it occurred to me that I didn't mean to start doing it this way, but there's no question that I am imitating hard news from Screw Attack's podcast way back in the old days. You know, before Stuttering Craig was a right-wing nut job. Woo.
Yeah.
But I used to love that show, Side Scrollers. I used to absolutely love that podcast. There was such a great vibe to that show. And Daily Destin would do a hard news, and they would set it to Power of Love, Huey Lewis in the news, which was great. We don't do that, but I feel like I've inadvertently stolen his hard news thing with Week Old News, that's okay, because he's not using it.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
So Week Old News is going to be fun this month because we are officially in not so E3 territory. We're in June, or at least we will be by the time this episode goes live, and the showcases have begun. I have our schedule written out for everything that's been announced, every showcase that's been announced. We're gonna watch them. We're gonna do our best to pay attention to them, and we have 2 to hit this week. On May 30th, we had the PlayStation State of Play and the Marvelous Game Showcase. So, let's start with the big one, the Marvelous Game Showcase. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I didn't watch that one, man. I don't...
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. The PlayStation State of Play. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't. I had some thoughts, the first game they spent like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours on what it felt like. I wasn't really into that. It was just like, hey, here's all right, that guy's a Klingon, and wow, this is just sci-fi archetypes, the game. Okay, but it's just all here, new studio, this is our new game, we're really excited about it. Here's a half an hour of cutscenes. And then they get to the gameplay, and it's just like, oh, it's this shit.
And I was legitimately, honestly, I was legitimately interested in that game until they showed the gameplay.
See, they lost me the same way. They lost me the same way Star Wars Jedi lost me. With, the characters were just being like, It's snarky sci-fi character. We're gonna say some one-liners, right? Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. We're in space. I am all about war and honor. You've never seen a character like me before in every science fiction thing ever. Holy shit! For fuck's sake, could you just not do Guardians of the Galaxy snarky Star Wars for 15 fucking minutes?
No.
If you're gonna do,
this is what we do now.
Just fucking stop it. I was so angry at that entire thing. I'm watching it over dinner, right? I got my phone up and I got one headphone in, and John's looking over like, what are you watching? I was like, oh, this is PlayStation State of Play. It's kind of for work. I just kind of have to pay attention to this. And 10 minutes later, he's like, is this the same game? It's like, yeah, dude, it's still going.
Yep.
It's still showing. I haven't even seen the fucking game yet.
Yeah, they're really excited about Concord.
Oh my god, they showed the logo too, that little logo thing where they zoom in and form the logo. They showed that 6 fucking times. Yeah, they just kept showing it. Stop that.
It looks fine.
Yeah. It looks fine.
It looks fine. Yeah. It looks fine.
It really just did not do anything for me. Did not move the needle. Yeah. It did not get my toes curled. God of War Ragnarok's coming to PC.
Cool. I'm happy that that's happening. That's
still
great.
Looks like God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, which is a great fucking game.
Yeah.
That everybody should play. That game's fucking dope as hell.
Yeah. I will say Dynasty Warriors Origins. I was like, oh, so this is what modern Dynasty Warriors should look like. Because I'm watching it, and I couldn't really hear what was going on, and I'm looking at it like, man, this looks like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. And indeed it was.
And then indeed it was. It turned out to actually be Dynasty Warriors. Who saw that coming?
Dynasty Warriors.
So that's cool. Infinity Nikki. I don't know what it was about this one that bothered me, but this one really irked me.
Really?
Something about this thing, this entire presentation, I'm looking at this like, wow, this is like weirdly, this is too saccharine, I think. It's like, it's just fucking nonsense.
Oh no, it's 100% nonsense. The kids were into that one. They were like, this is fucking weird and we don't know what's happening and we're kind of into it. It's like,
yeah, I was really not into this one. This was like, this is the part of the Nintendo Direct that I tune out of and be like, all right,
Sure.
We've hit the part of the program that's not for me. And I'm like, oh, well, here it is. This is this kind of nonsense, except prettier.
Yeah.
Glad to see PS5 isn't immune to this nonsense. So is that girl a cat? Or do they turn into the cats? Or the cats their friends? Or what? We're playing in pretty dresses, and it's just a bunch of anime nonsense. Infinity
it's an
Nikki.
Open world dress-up adventure, Chris. That's how the PlayStation blog describes it.
Well...
Love a good open world dress-up adventure.
Where winds meet.
That's the game that I was the most excited about.
Yeah, like, I figured that you would be. This one did look pretty neat. John and I were watching this one and be like, yeah, that one looks pretty cool. I mean...
Yeah, I'm into that one.
It looked like a lot of other games, which I saw somebody say, I wish I had written down who it was, but I saw somebody say... on the internets today, this is the problem when every one of your games aims for hyper-realism. You can't tell them apart. Because, the next one, Ballad of Antara, like, you could have told me this was the same game, and I would have believed you.
Yeah.
Like, I understand there's, like, different things happening in it, but they're not that different, and the visual style is not that different. Like... You could have just told me this was a whole other side of that same exact game, and I would 100% believe you.
Yeah.
And then we had, the Sky Dances Behemoth, which,
that was the VR one?
The VR one, yeah. So I checked out that real quick.
Okay.
Again, I'm sure it looked okay, but I'm just so not into VR. I really just kind of skipped over the VR stuff. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, sure, why not? Alien Rogue Incursion.
That looks like, all right. They haven't had the big, like, this is the reason you should own a VR. I don't know that Alien has that kind of pull anymore.
I kind of thought Ghostbusters was going to be that, but clearly that didn't move the needle enough.
No.
I think that the trouble with the Alien one was that they didn't really show much of anything. Like, there's a couple of hallways, and then here's a xenomorph and an egg. It was like they didn't show anything because we're watching it, and John was just like, "What is that? Oh God, what is that?" I'm like, "That's a xenomorph, dude. You're gonna watch Aliens one of these days, but you're not there yet."
And you're gonna fucking love it because it's dope as hell.
I would like that to be cool because you want to talk about it. You pull off a proper Aliens game in VR, that's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, that is a really good idea.
Yeah, you get that right, that's going to be awesome. I'm not going anywhere fucking near it. Not only do I not like jump scares, I don't like VR. This is my fucking nightmare, so no.
Yeah, not for you.
Be awesome. I want you to be awesome. I want Alien fans to be able to appreciate just wetting themselves with fear from being totally immersed in alien attacks, but that's not for me.
Yeah,
Marvel Rivals. I still don't want this at all, because it just looks like, like Marvel Overwatch, I guess.
Yeah.
However, it is gorgeous.
A lot of the Marvel Snap creators played a bunch of this game when it was in beta, and they all quite liked it. And people that like normally that like when they say, like, oh, like this, like I kind of trust what they say about it. And a bunch of people were like, no, this is like legitimately fun, and I think it looks legitimately fun. And Venom, like, yeah, okay. I will certainly give it a shot.
I wish I could say the same, that I'm interested in giving this a shot. I'm genuinely not, but I was really taken aback by how good the game looks. Like, just I don't think it looks good fun. I think it just looks like visually it is very, very impressive looking. I like the animation. I like what I'm seeing. It's pretty cool. But I'm glad for people who like these kinds of games that this looks good, because apparently there's been a lot of Marvel projects that haven't looked all that good. You say what you will about the Avengers eventually being fun. I've never thought that game was a very good looking game. So
sure,
I'm glad it eventually pulled off being fun, but this has style, and I like that.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Until Dawn gets a new trailer, blah blah blah. Path of Exile 2, sure, why not? The Silent Hill 2 remake. What did you think of this? Because I had some thoughts.
I think it looks pretty good.
Really?
I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. Like, Silent Hill, like, I feel like they're showing off the wrong parts of it to maybe get people, like, more excited about the combat than they should be, because that's, like, really not what I play Silent Hill for.
Right, yeah. I don't play Silent Hill, again, because, me, I'm not really much of a horror guy, but
yeah,
I thought the people in this game looked awful. It's just the guy and the girl, right? I don't know what anyone's names are, but
yeah,
just they look awful. They're just got these dead-eyed. I don't know how to put it into words. It's just like I look at their faces, like, because look at half the other stuff that we've seen, the other hyper-realistic things that we've looked at, and the faces in there, they just, something looks way too video gamey, like way too older video gamey about the faces in this. That's just
it
really
feels like a
me.
choice, though. I don't know.
Is it?
Like, I'm
maybe?
not. I don't know.
Look,
I'm certainly not going to like run out and buy this day one. Like I'm not that excited about it. It's fine.
And it's just the faces too. Like the environments look good. The monsters look good. There's just something about the human faces that are just not doing it for me. They both look like, I don't want to say like they don't actually look like PS3 graphics, because obviously this is way better than PS3 graphics, but it looks like you took the limits of what you could do with facial animation from PlayStation 3 and just stopped there, and then applied that to your otherwise good-looking game.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, human faces, as far as I've come to understand, are like the hardest thing to animate, because there's just so much going on. But like, I'm getting Tarkin from Rogue One vibes, like I'm getting this, it just doesn't look right. There's something about it that's just really, this team, what is it, Bloober team? They don't have the greatest track record, I think so, of games under their belt. I think they were a really weird choice for Silent Hill, but yeah, I don't know. This one, I just thought it kind of looked like a mess. I was really upset.
Yeah, I don't know. I was really,
because like, I mean, just look at Monster Hunter right after it. Right after it, you get Monster Hunter, and like look at the characters in Monster Hunter. Granted, they're less they're less aiming for realism because it's fucking Monster Hunter, but they are still hyper detailed, and they're moving around in ways that don't seem off-putting, and not off-putting like this is supposed to be unsettling. Off-putting in like, I don't think you drew that.
That's
right.
not how humans move.
Yeah, it's not how this. That's not how this works. And it's just, it was funny to me seeing Konami and Capcom back to back, and seeing just like, I'm looking at this Monster Hunter game being like, man, I wish I liked Monster Hunter because this game looks cool as shit, but there's no way I would enjoy playing it. And Silent Hill being like, I know people like think Silent Hill 2 is one of the best games ever made, and I cannot imagine they're going to be very happy about this. But there is some awful discourse out there about Silent Hill. I don't know if you've been picked up on any of that nonsense. Oh, some truly.
Have not.
I'm gonna call him. I'm not gonna call him by name because after in the weeks since he commented on our podcast a few weeks back, I am convinced 100% that what he said, where one of his fans or whatever let him know about the podcast. I am 100,000% certain that this dude Googles himself multiple times a day. No question in my mind. So I'm gonna call him Smushy Jeff.
Sure. Love Smushy Jeff.
Smushy Jeff has he seems to have found a grift that's working quite well for him right now. We mentioned Smushy Jeff last week in some of the discourse he's been whipping up about basically putting together a hit list for people who write for Kotaku. He's leaning real hard into the right wing nut job territory right now, like real hard. So hard, in fact, that he's been tweeting, a couple of times about how what is it, the Sweet Baby Inc. or whatever, some company that's supposed to be like that's making forced diversity into video games. Clearly made this girl character look like, his words, a transvestite. Look, buddy.
Man.
I think the faces look like shit, but you're barking up the wrong tree. Bad. Just like, I don't know what you're talking about when you look at this character model and say, because like there's Smushy's disciples are all up in arms about this because she's not hot anymore, right? They're pulling up the old character art from Silent Hill 2 and being like, this is what she's supposed to look like. She's not hot anymore. Why would you do this? Why would you downgrade this character like that? Like, oh, you made her look more like a human. That's weird.
You only value people based on their looks, and they don't want to fuck you anyway.
They've been doing the
sorry,
remember that thing with Horizon? Yeah, that was real.
Pulled back a little bit. Sorry. My bad.
You remember that thing with Horizon where that one dude made the joke version of like, here's what the non-woke version of Aloy should look like, and it had like makeup and the big smile and everything, and it was a fucking joke. Yeah. But nobody knew that, and they were like, yes, 100%. See how easy it was? You should let fans do that. So they've been doing that.
See how she's got peach fuzz? They're trying to make her a man. It's like, oh, you've never touched a woman.
Got it.
Cool.
You've never actually seen one up close. And they're like messing with her jawline and putting blush on her and eyeshadow, and it's like, wow, so you made her look even worse. Good for you.
Because right before I go out to fight for my life, I gotta make sure I put the makeup on, just in case there's a straight white man that might save me at some point.
Make sure that I look nice and pretty for that situation.
That I look my best. You fucking fucks.
See, like, here's the deal. Like, the idea of the face that they gave this character is not incorrect. Like, I don't have an intrinsic problem with it. It's the fucking execution. There's just something about the way these faces move and animate, and it's not just her, it's the dude too. The main character guy, there is just something wrong with their faces. I don't know what it is. I don't know enough about video game animation to nail it down, but I don't know. There's something wrong here. We're in this uncanny valley area where if you don't get it right, it's really wrong, and that's what's happening.
Well, that is part of the problem, is that we've gotten to this point of we say hyper-realism, and it's still really not, because that's not what fucking people look like in the real world. It's not hyper-realistic. It's good, but, like, pump the brakes on the fucking pretentiousness turnpike there, guys. Pull over. It's like, just, you know. But we've gotten to a point where if that's the art style you're going in, and I don't necessarily know that that's what Silent Hill 2 is going for, but if that's the perceived notion that you're going in, and you don't, as you said, if you don't nail it, then it does look really fucking weird. Yeah, it's like if you go back and look at, I think the most egregious offender of it is Episode 2, right? Star Wars Episode 2. As they're walking around, specifically when they're on Genosha, everything is so smooth.
Genosha's X-Men.
Sorry, Genosha's X-Men. Sorry, I've had X-Men on the brain quite a bit. But you know what I meant. Fuck you. Don't correct me. No, I'm just kidding. But when they're there and Obi-Wan is talking to that fucking tall chick, about the clones and shit, everything is so perfectly smooth and
you're
so
talking
clean
about Camino.
And so Camino, thank you. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Geonosis is where they're fighting at the end with the sand and everything. Once he said the tall chick, is like,
oh no, fuck all that.
Padme's not that tall. What's he talking about? Oh, you're talking about Camino. Okay.
See, I'm not a fucking nerd, Chris.
Samsonite. I was way off.
But, like, if you go back and look at those scenes, and if you look at, like, the scenes when they're having, like, the Jedi Council meetings and shit, like, nobody hung up a painting ever. There's, like, nothing on the walls. It's just this weird, perfect CG idea of what a clean building surface would look like, and it looks fucking wrong now. Because we've gotten to a point now where in the CG, it's the fucking Hulk, you know? And he's real and he's interacting and smashing things and whatever. And you go back and look at that and you're like, nah, this doesn't look right. And it doesn't look right because it doesn't fucking look right.
Nailed it.
Anyway. At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And that just brings us to Astrobot. Yay!
This looked great.
Yeah, this looks wonderful. And it was
great.
like,
this looks.
It's
a breath of fresh air after all the other shit that happened in this fucking showcase. This was not a great showcase.
No, it really wasn't. And the Astrobot thing,
state of play.
Astrobot thing. Oh, I wish I could find the stat again. But as far as like the actual YouTube views, the what's it? The thing at the beginning, the Concorde that they spent a fucking half an hour on, that has like less, like, I think like a quarter of the amount of views as the Astrobot thing, and like way fewer likes and everything. Like this game that they put, this was their top heavy thing, this was their fucking focus, has a fraction of what the Astrobot does, because the Astrobot, this was chock full of personality. I still think the PlayStation 5 is the ugliest goddamn game system ever, and it doesn't make a better spaceship than a game console. But
I don't know.
Everything else, I'm so into this. I think it's hilarious that you've got. It's a little odd that you've got like Kratos in there. Like, this is your game for kids. Do they know who Kratos is? Because they fucking shouldn't.
They shouldn't, but they probably do.
Probably do. But all the bosses look all cool. Like this game just reeks of what's missing from PlayStation. When I think about like when I think about PlayStation's personality, like, this was a PlayStation-ass state of play, for sure, when you look at all the games. But it was just this one faction of what the PlayStation's identity is. And PlayStation's identity used to be these kinds of games, plus super artsy stuff like Journey, plus your Sly Coopers, your Ratchet and Clanks, your Jack and Daxters, you know? And this was such a wonderful breath of fresh air, this Astro's, what was it called? Astrobot? That was it?
Yeah, the first Astrobot.
Astro's Playroom was the original, right? That's what it was? Yeah.
Yep.
Super neat.
Yeah, I thought it was the best thing that they showed at the State of Play.
Uh-oh, who left?
I thought it was...
Oh, no.
Evan left.
Oh, no, we're flying without a net. Wait, that's not how that works. we got no backup anymore. No master. He's going to have to do it off of our vocals now.
Uh-oh.
He'll live.
Uh-oh. Should we tell him?
I don't know. Can we?
Theoretically, he knows.
Yeah, maybe he's the one who did it.
Because he just turned it off?
Or maybe his computer turned it off automatically.
What I found really weird about it, too, is that today, on the PlayStation blog, they announced that on August 1st, Tomba Special Edition is coming out.
Yeah. Why wasn't that part of this?
Why wasn't that in a State of Play?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Why'd you save that for the next day? It's weird.
Yeah, why hold that off? That's a super fun announcement.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You could have taken
choice you made, guys.
Taken a minute and a half out of that half an hour of I've already forgotten the name of that goddamn game again. You could have taken a minute out of that. Yeah, taken some of the Concord grapes out of there and just gone right to give us a little bit of Tomba. You could have made that happen, but you didn't.
Yeah,
you're silly.
Yeah, I gotta say, as the resident Sony, I believe the parlance of our times is a dick rider.
I thought it was Sony Pony.
No, oh, really? I like that even more. This really didn't do much for me. This didn't really get me very excited.
That was
fine.
It was certainly a state of play. It was fine.
Yeah,
wasn't a huge win for any parties involved. Which means
there was a decided lack of farming sims.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping Nintendo picks up the slack on that.
I'm sure they will.
How can they
they will.
Gotta be more cozy games, more cozy farming sims.
100%.
So, with the other showcase that we had was the Marvelous Game Showcase 2024. This was I found this show quaint and adorable. I didn't care about a single one of the games that were shown off in here. Like, you wanted your farming sims, you got your farming sims. We got Farmagia, which is a magic farming sim. You got more Story of Seasons in here. Like, it was just anime nonsense after anime nonsense. But this company knows exactly what it is. They know exactly what their target demographic is. They are living their best lives. All these Japanese dudes, some of them in business suits, some of them dressed in casual business attire. Like, they're all just coming out, talking and being themselves. It just kind of reminds me of old E3. And it made me real happy. I didn't give a shit about a single thing in this entire presentation. And it didn't really matter, you know? The Harvest Moon cows still look like Harvest Moon cows, or some card-based thing where God's fighting a lizard. There's a Pokemon game that they did, which looks incredibly predatory. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I heard about that.
This Pokemon arcade game, it's like, just put 100 yen in to start the game. You want to catch a Pokemon? Put 100 yen in. You want to go walk down the street? Put 100 yen in. It's like, holy cow, it's these cool-looking, gigantic touchscreens that you're playing Pokemon with, but it just looks like just pumping dollars into this thing. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm just kind of skimming through it, looking for something in particular to point out. There's this one kind of pixely game, Death the Guitar. Looks kind of neat. But yeah, this is exactly what you expect out of the company that makes Rune Factory. This is exactly what you expect out of them.
What is this Metroidvania platformy thing looking here with the demons and Amaterasu here at the end and Bow? That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that was all right.
Bow looks pretty cool. Death or Guitar? I like guitars. Or Death the Guitar?
Death the Guitar, yes. And then they ended it on Daemon Ex Machina Titanic Scion, but they didn't show anything.
That tracks.
Again, bless your heart for keeping that game going. They really believed in that game when they launched it on Switch. And I don't think it did any better when they ported it to other platforms. And they don't care because they're marvelous. And they're going to do what they're going to do. And if it makes some money, that's enough. And I wish there were more companies like that.
Yeah, me too.
So there you go.
All right, well, I don't feel bad that I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, no, you didn't miss anything. That is our not-so-E3 recaps for this week. Next week's going to be a hefty one. Next week, we're going to be covering again, theoretically, there's probably going to be a lot of stuff in next week's that we don't really pay any attention to. There's the OTK Games Expo, the Guerrilla Collective Accessibility Showcase, Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, Devolver Direct are all the ones that are going to be talked about by us next week. Obviously, I don't have anything to predict on any of these things because how do you predict Devolver, right?
No, we're done with predictions. I think.
Yeah, I've nothing. Yeah, we're just gonna be like, yeah, Kid Icarus, whatever. No more predictions, just recaps, which is fine. There should be. I love this time of year. I love it when these studios get together and make these big chunks of announcements. I was hoping for more out of PlayStation, but they kind of set the expectations real low when they announced it. You know, they announced it like it's going to be a smaller thing. It's going to be a little state of play. This is what we got. Enjoy. And I'm really at this stage in the game, at this stage in the PS5's life, considering how many fucking systems they've sold, where are the games? Where's the library? Where's the things that are... Where's the excitement? It's just... Snap into a Slim Jim. Anyway, back to week-old news. Retro RGB is reporting that RGB mods for CRTs just got better. I did not know people were modding CRTs.
Why not?
There's a mod community for the actual TVs themselves. That's amazing to me. And this is a whole RGB mod for a CRT. I'm just... Bless you, retro game community. Never change. I friggin' love that people are modding the TVs themselves. That's just absolutely glorious.
You absolute fucking maniacs.
Yep. It never stop. Love it. But things that should stop. Kotaku reports. Free Stellar Blade movement can't decide if new outfits are sexy enough. Our Smushy Jeff was really involved in this whole Free Stellar Blade thing, which his disciples are calling a win. They apparently won. They didn't. There was, the sexy outfits that were slightly less sexy when they released were not because of censorship. It was just because of the devs decided that's the way they wanted those outfits to look. But no, Chris. They won after petitioning. They won. They made them sexier. They added a whole bunch of other sexy outfits for the character. But apparently, they can't decide if they're sexy enough, right? So, I swear to God, I'm looking at, and this is on an article Kotaku posted. I love
when they post things.
The Twitter user is Kotaku is shit.
I mean, I like that he didn't bury the fucking lead.
Yeah. And I love... That's fun. I gotta say, I respect Kotaku for posting what this person says. They only did 50% of the job. I would have been fine with that, but they censored another outfit that was unchanged to this date. Are you kidding me? Why do this? Nobody was asking for it. Of course, there's still going to be people complaining. They have every right to. So...
I was asking for it. Kotaku is shit. I asked for it a couple weeks ago.
I'm going to go ahead and send you this picture.
Listen, censor a couple more of the Stellar Blade outfits.
Here's the thing. Dan. I'm going to go ahead and send you this picture because this really needs to be seen to be believed. which is perfect for an audio podcast. But here's the picture that they're complaining about. Now, in version 1.0, her undies are very noticeable because the fabric in front of them is completely sheer. Now, in the 1.03 update, as you can see next to it, she appears to be wearing far smaller underwear, but what's covering it is slightly less sheer.
I gotta be honest. It doesn't look like she's wearing underwear in the second picture.
Right?
The second picture looks like she's rocking a little bit of a bush.
That's kind of what I thought, too.
Okay.
But, Dan, this is censorship. Look what they have taken from the gamers, TM. They have robbed them of this degree of sexiness. This is censorship, and it will not stand.
Who fucking cares?
They do.
That's the thing.
A lot.
That's the thing that I don't get. Why? Why is that something that anybody would make a video about or care about? And again, I almost wonder if any of this is actually even real. Like, I wonder if we've gotten to the point where it's like money, right? Like, money doesn't really exist anymore. Jeff Bezos is worth like so many $1 billion. Like, yeah, okay, sure. He can't go take that money out of a bank. He can't. It's not there. You know what I mean? Like, it may say that he has that much in his bank account, but he fucking doesn't, because he can't take it out, and there's just no liquidity to that. It's just numbers on a fucking screen at that point. So I wonder, honestly, if we've gotten to the point where the bots on social media are such that we're screaming into the void and nothing's actually there. I have to imagine that's actually where we are.
I don't know, man.
We're making content is being made for bot farming. Because it just does, a couple people, sure, but the amount of responses and traction that these things get, and then there's the whole segment of YouTube personalities that make videos about those things that then get all of the comments on it, and all of, none of it actually feels fucking real, because it's all strangely the same comment over and over and over again, and it just doesn't seem, I don't know, man, it's weird. Because
listen to this exchange. Listen to this exchange.
Okay.
This is a comment thread on this picture. The commenter said, "Wait, I'm confused. Is the one where she's not wearing underwear supposed to be the censored version?" And Kotaku with shit replies, "Are you truly confused, or are you just denying the fact that they made that part of the outfit less transparent? Of course she's still wearing underwear."
I mean, I don't know that she is. Because there's a strap over on the leg that looks like it could be a strap for underwear, but it also looks like it could be a strap for that type of dress to hold the dress together. Because sometimes that is a part of those sort of plastic sexy dresses that are made. You have to keep them together so that they don't fly up, so you don't get arrested. I don't know, man. That just doesn't feel real. Maybe I'm just hopeful it's not real.
Yeah, maybe. It's really, really disturbing, the degree with which these folks are picking apart these outfits. But that's enough time spent on this ridiculous conversation.
Okay.
Nintendo Life reports Nintendo announces second U.S. store opening in 2025. And it's about dang time.
It is. Where is it going to open?
San Francisco.
Oh, pretty close.
So we got We got one in the East Coast in New York. Now we're getting one in San Francisco. That's cool because the Nintendo World Store is super awesome, and there shouldn't be one in New York and that's it. Yeah. Obviously, they shouldn't turn into a giant chain, but it's nice that people on the West Coast will be able to go to a Nintendo World Store because, they should. Those things are neat.
Now put one in Chicago. Call it a day.
There you go.
If you're not willing to
also
drive.
Reports Dragon Quest III HD 2D tease confirms platforms and nothing else. They announced this game like a couple of years ago. They were giving Dragon Quest III to HD 2D treatment, and then on Dragon Quest Day, they dropped this new, I don't think trailer's the right word, little teaser image thing that just has a logo and says the legacy begins. It's just this Dragon Quest HD 2D, Switch, PS5, Series S, X, Steam. Now here's the thing. It was originally announced as Dragon Quest III. But I don't see Dragon Quest 3 on here. I just see Dragon Quest, which almost makes me semi-hopeful that they're going to be doing the HD 2D treatment to Dragon Quest 1 through 3, or maybe 1 through 4, like all the NES ones.
Right.
I'm not as much of a fan of the HD 2D style being applied to everything that a lot of people are. Like, yes, every old RPG needs to look like this. It's the greatest thing ever. Like, I am absolutely not that.
Everything needs to look like Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler should look like Octopath Traveler. I love that is a thing. I think doing it to classic Dragon Quest games is an exception to my rule that it should just be that Octopath Traveler, but whatever. I think that's a really cool idea. I can't wait to actually see it, though. And apparently I'm going to have to, because this has been cooking for quite some time, and we still aren't seeing much of anything.
Yeah.
But speaking of cooking, IGN reports $300 LEGO Legend of Zelda Great Deku Tree revealed. Yes, there's actually official LEGO Zelda stuff, and it's $300 goddamn dollars. It does look great.
It's not surprising at all.
$300 goddamn dollars. No, it's not. Oh, it's never going to not give me sticker shock, but it's not surprising in the least. It's a really cool looking set, though. You can either build it as Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild, which is super cool. I would love to have it, but I would have nowhere to put it, and I don't have $300. And if I did, I wouldn't spend it on Legos. I would spend it on, like, bills.
Yeah. Fun. Fun stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I hate what Lego has become. I hate what toys have become, honestly.
Yeah, they're not for people kids anymore. They're high end.
Yeah. And like there should still be like I'm totally fine with the high end Lego sets. That's fine. But like even the cheap Lego sets really aren't all that cheap. It's like when I walk through the store, I walk through the toy section of every store I go into, much to the chagrin of my wife. And like I just look at the prices on shit, and I'm like, man, none of this is for children anymore. This is crazy. A fucking Power Rangers toy is $22. Son of a bitch. All right.
That's a lot of nuts.
It is. It's a lot of pudding.
Next up, IGN reports Microsoft confirms Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Day 1 with Xbox Game Pass. I don't know what I hate more. That this is the 6th Black Ops game, or that it's coming to Game Pass. I mean, I feel like we just went through this whole thing where it's become painfully obvious that Game Pass is not the future for making money.
It's just not, but it has to be. They're now stuck. They're caught in this perpetual cycle where it doesn't make enough money, so more games have to be added to it, which means it needs to make more money that it's not making, so it needs to be improved continuously, and it's just not going to work.
It's a vicious circle. It goes round and round.
It is.
It's what makes it vicious, and also a circle.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Good for people who like Call of Duty.
Yeah, good for people who like Call of Duty, but this is going to be an interesting story to follow when Call of Duty's actual sales numbers are a fucking fraction of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to tank that game's sales, actual units sold, and something tells me we're not really going to hear about that much, because I don't think Microsoft's going to report on it.
Probably not.
I think they are. Anyways, Kotaku here. A decade later, Mario Kart 8 is still impossible to top. This game's 10 fucking years old, and it's still one of the best sellers on the system. How?
I was talking about that with chat the other day, and yeah, it's fucking wild. Still just as good. They were putting DLC out for it last year.
Yeah.
It's 9 years into the fucking game.
Yeah.
That game's insanely good.
Good.
And Tiff was like, it's kind of weird that they haven't made another one. I was like, it's really not. They don't have to.
Why bother?
This game's great.
We'll put Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the next Switch.
Yeah. Where do you go from there? Anything... I don't know that we all properly appreciate how good Mario Kart 8 is, because all of the other Mario Kart games are good. Some of them are very, very, very good. Where are the nitpicks with this game? Like, where are the problems? It doesn't have.
They fixed
all of the
Wii
stages.
The Wii U
but that's
version,
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, the Wii U version was missing the not being able to hold 2 items. That was a problem.
Yep.
I can't remember what the other stuff was, but they fixed all of it for 8 Deluxe. It's great. So really, all you do from here is all new tracks and a new roster. That's all you need to do.
Even that, I mean, this, like, just perpetually update this game. Sell an expansion pack. Like, wait another couple of months, $20. Sell an expansion pack with, like, 20 new tracks or whatever. You know?
Nah, I mean, that's what they could do, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. They're going to come up with something else stupid. They're going to come up with some other way to reinvent the wheel and be like, shit. Well, this is great. Knowing them.
Yeah.
But anyway, last story. IGN also reporting that Minecraft animated series announced for Netflix.
Cool. I finally just canceled Netflix.
Just in time.
Yeah. I realized I hadn't watched or cared about anything on Netflix in quite some time. Why am I still paying for this? This is nuts.
Good question. All right, well, that wraps up a week-old news, and that also wraps up our next segment. So we're going to take ourselves another quick commercial break, and when we come back, I don't know. When we come back, we're going to hit the 10, 20, 30, 40. I want to cry. We're going to hit the 10, 20, 30, 40. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. Do you enjoy the Stone Age Gamer Podcast and other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network? Do you wish you could listen to them sooner than the regular unwashed masses? Do you wish you could contribute in some way? Well, then you should check out the Geekade Patreon. Yes, the Geekade Patreon is a wonderful and very much appreciated way for you to help us pay the bills and keep our shows running week after week. As a Geekade patron, you'll get a monthly podcast topic schedule and early access to nearly every show on the Geekade Podcast Network, as well as access to a patron-exclusive monthly show called DC's Amazing Movie Time from the creators of the Weekend Rental Podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/Geekade and become a loved and appreciated member of the Geekade Patreon team and get early access to shows like the Stone Age Gamer Podcast, this week's episode, Turning Tracks, and a whole lot more. See you there.
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, Yet Another Star Trek Podcast, at yetanothersTpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
When you hear the words cross-stitch, you probably think of a grandma lovingly making a Christmas stocking, a picture of a lighthouse, or maybe a Bible verse with flowers. But that's not what we do at Shoot the Moon Stitches. We take the old-fashioned art of cross-stitch and pair it with contemporary themes and imagery to create striking works of art that make the perfect gift for anyone who grew up with the internet and has a wicked sense of humor and an appreciation for pop culture. From cult favorite TV shows and movies, to retro video games, to TikTok trends. If it's made you smile, chances are we've stitched it. You can shop our selection of art and gifts by going to Etsy.com and searching Shoot the Moon Stitches. For all your fun, feminist, fandom fiber art needs, visit Shoot the Moon Stitches.
All right, we are back. It is time for the 10, 20, 30, 40, where we discuss notable game releases from 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago this month. We are talking about May. We're going to jump back to the 10, so we're looking for May 2014. Let's see what we got cooking here. It's February. I did not do my due diligence and actually get this all set up ahead of time because it's been a day, but I'm going to talk through it. And here we are in May for PlayStation 3. So, right, we're looking at May 2014 for PlayStation 3. We got a bunch of nonsense here. More nonsense. Holy shit. Are we going to have an actual game on here somewhere? Serious Sam 3 BFE? Walking Dead Season 2 Episode 3 In Harm's Way.
All those were fun.
Yeah.
Not fun is a weird way to put it, but they were good.
Good old jolly Walking Dead. Darksiders Collection, Wolfenstein: The New Order, that I heard was pretty good. Ace Combat Infinity? I didn't know there was an Ace Combat Infinity. They just kept making those games, huh? Oh shit, Watch Dogs.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Watch Dogs was fine.
That was an interesting concept.
Fine. Yeah.
That's about it.
It's not great.
No, not great. But we're in May, right? We're in May, and the PlayStation 4 exists. So let's see what did the PS4 have for us in April? May. MLB 14, the show.
That's good.
Titan Text, Bound by Flame, Wolfenstein: The New Order, something called Transistor. Okay. got an 83 Metascore. I don't remember this game at all.
Oh, what the fuck is Transistor? I'm going to look it up. I think I like that one.
Watch Dogs, Pixel Junk Shooter. Nope, that's June. Yeah, all right. So, not too much different from the PS3. Except, whatever this Transistor and Bound by Flame.
Isn't Transistor the fucking the Hades people? Yeah, Supergiant. Yeah.
Really? Oh, well, that's neat.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's good. I thought that's what it was.
Oh, that's good when it's good.
Yeah. Action RPG. It's cool. It's fine. I don't know. I still haven't played Hades, so I can't speak to how good it is. But yeah, it was the follow-up. It was their follow-up game to Bastion. Bastion came out in 2011. Transistor was 2014. Pyre 2017, and then 2020 was Hades. So yeah, it's
fascinating. Good. Well, we'll see what the competition was up to. Xbox 360 also had Bound by Flame, Flappy Worlds, which is clearly Flappy Bird, Wolfenstein: The New Order, the Darksiders collection, looking like it's basically the same. Yeah, Watch Dogs. Yeah, it's basically the same setup as on PlayStation 3. A couple other DLC-related things like State of Decay, but nothing really worth pointing out. Okay. As foreshadowed at the beginning of the show, we're not really in for I don't think we're in for too many heavy hitters, but let's see what we got on Xbox One. Wow, I skipped right past May. That means it must have been a big month. We've got Titanfall Expedition. We've got Super Time Force. What? Nut Jitsu? I feel like that name could be taken a couple of ways. Wolfenstein: The New Order, Watch Dogs, and Worms Battlegrounds.
That is not
a wash.
Good.
That's a wash. I don't know. PlayStation or Xbox wins that month. So let's see.
I don't know. Transistor, I think, puts it in PlayStation's favor. Not that matters, but what did Nintendo have?
What did Nintendo have? The old Wii U. What did the Wii U bring to us in May 2014? It's going to be good.
Red Steel 2.
Oh, that was original Wii.
I'm just guessing. Oh God,
how dare you?
It was. I don't even fucking know.
Okay, the original Swords and Soldiers. That was kind of a neat thing. That was a WiiWare hit. Oh, actually, I'm full of shit. We just talked about this. Mario Kart Fuck Mothering 8.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, May 30th, 2014. Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a big deal.
That's fucking great. It's great. It's a great game. I love it.
I don't have to say much more about it. We just talked about it. But yeah, I think that that one right there kind of beats everything we've seen.
That's the end of that.
That's the end of that discussion. There's a couple other things like Scram Kitty and his buddy on rails. That was okay. So we mentioned Swords and Soldiers was kind of cool. But yeah, there really wasn't anything else on Wii U, and there didn't need to be because fucking Mario Kart 8, easily one of the best-selling games ever now. Complete insanity.
It's pretty good.
I cannot imagine that this is going to work out well. Let's see. Was there anything in May 2014 for Wii? Smurfs Party Pack. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
10 out of 10.
See that? Like, if these fucking dickbags want to start talking about how they should sex up a game,
add Smurfs.
Fucking. I mean, you got Smurfette walking around like a hotsy-totsy, bunch of dudes with their shirts off. Papa Smurf being like, I'm a daddy, and I'm in charge, and I got a beard and no shirt. These fucking red sexy pants on.
Basically wearing what you wear every day.
Yeah.
DS is in pretty much the exact same boat. DS has the Smurf collection. A couple of DSiWare things like Deep Sea Creatures and Jewel Quest 4. But that's about it for original DS. What about the old 3DS? What about 3DS? How did you do in May 2014. Still, wow. All right, so 3DS is already cooking by this point because I'm a few pages in. I'm only at March. Still at April. What about May? Here, May 1st. Goodness. Oh, this is a touch detective game. That didn't come out in North America. That's not for us. What else?
That's not for you. This is the part only for the men, Lois.
Oh, we're off to a good start. We got Mario Golf World Tour. We've got Kirby Triple Deluxe. That was pretty cool. Couple of downloadable games. There's Moon Chronicles, back when Atui was Renegade Kid and not fucking stupid. Putty Squad. June's right around the corner, man. We're gonna get that chicken wiggle. We're gonna get them hatch tails, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be worth all the wait for sure. Oh, Farming Simulator 14 hit 3DS. Fuck yes.
Oh
yes.
God.
No, really, that's not a bad month for 3DS.
Nah, it's not bad.
A new Kirby and a new Mario Golf and some Moon.
Yeah,
was
it's solid.
Decent, so yeah, that's solid.
That's solid.
Wow, Nintendo surprisingly coming out swinging. What about
Killing
the
it.
PSP? What about the PSP?
What about it?
Heart no Kuni no Alice Wonderful Twin World. That's just a bunch of fucking words. That's not a game. And then World Soccer Winning 11 2014.
Which is always good.
Yeah. What about the Vita?
Always good.
What about the Vita? Come on, Vita. Give me something. Give me a win here. Give me Jimmy Woods. I love The Wizard. Just can't tell you how many times that movie just pops into my head throughout the course of the day. All right, Broken Sword 5. Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 came out on the Vita.
I've never been a Borderlands guy.
2, the God of War collection.
Oh, that's good. Those games were fun.
Something called Dong? What?
Oh, you know what that is.
It's Pong, but with the P upside down. So why is it called Dong? What makes this different than Pong?
You slap it with your dick, Chris, obviously.
Oh, God.
No paddles, just dicks.
Just cack slapping. Lemmings Touch. I didn't know that existed.
That game is also just dicks. Just Lemmings Touch dicks.
There's a Sly Cooper collection. Nobunaga's Ambition.
No dicks in Sly Cooper.
No. Not enough dicks. That's it. Okay. Well, yeah, it could be worse. That wasn't bad.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, Sly collection. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, Sly games are great, man. I love Sly Cooper.
Now for the big one. The one that we're all here for. There were 2 games released on the Ouya. Emoji World Ouya and Whispering Willows. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And that's the 10. I think Nintendo was the clear winner on the 10.
Clear.
For Mario Kart 8. No questions asked. So that means it's time to go back.
Like fucking Crystal Pepsi clear.
Crystal Pepsi. Just want to listen to Van Halen's right now.
Right? Come on!
It's just tomorrow!
That's
Come on!
Not for nothing.
It's everything!
It's a great fucking song.
Magic moment! Do it right here and now! I fucking love that song. I
love Van Hagar. I'm not afraid to
Good
admit
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
I'm a Van Hagar guy.
All right, so in the 20, we're looking at PlayStation 1, which technically had one release on May 13th, 2004, something called Black Matrix 00. I'm not even 100% convinced it came out in North America. But that's the PlayStation 1 still kicking for you in 2004. Let's talk about PlayStation 2. This is... God, there are so many PS2 games. Every single month I do this, and I got to scroll through so many pages just to get to what we're cooking with. All right, I made it to April. We going to hit May? No, there's a whole other page of April. There we go. We finally made it to May. All right, let's talk. Let's cook here. April, starting off with Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah.
I like
Not
that
for
game.
me, but massive game.
I mean, this wasn't the massive game, right? This is the Capcom one that Rockstar bought and finished. This is what became Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, yeah.
If I remember correctly, this wasn't really all that open world. I thought I had some pretty cool, quick draw segments in it. This was a neat game. I remember enjoying this one because it was not a Rockstar game, which is not the kind of thing I dig. Most people didn't love it, but I thought it was cool. We also got La Pucelle Tactics, ESPN Major League Baseball. Just ESPN Major League Baseball. This was, the first one because it didn't have a year. Oh, 2K4, never mind. This was 2K4. Yeah. We got Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain.
That's pretty good.
Euro 2004 Portugal.
Those.
Yeah, Siphon Filter games are cool. Still in May, Samurai Warriors, Online Pro Wrestling, Van Helsing based on the movie.
Based on the book, based on the movie.
Conan, Strike Force Bowling, Future Tactics, The Uprising, Transformers 2004. These were not released in America. Iron Sea, SingStar 2004. Boy, this list is still going. There's a lot of Japanese nonsense on here. It did not come out in North America. And I think that's about it. I'm not seeing any other North America games. Oh, Vib Ripple. I heard about that game. That didn't come out here. There was an Sega's Outrun, and yeah, that's it. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, Red Dead Revolver's pretty good. La Pucelle Tactics was that's an Atlas thing, right?
I believe so.
Atlas and Chase.
One of those things. That Transformers game did pretty well. Yeah.
We sold a ton of that fucking SingStar shit.
Yeah.
Those were pretty popular.
Okay.
Not a huge month, but
yeah, no huge standouts, but still some quality there. Something worth looking at. So let's see how the competition did. I actually skipped too far ahead. All right, so Xbox also had Red Dead Redemption. They had Rally Sport Challenge 2, UEFA 2004, Van Helsing, Future Tactics, Strike Force. Thief Deadly Shadows. That was a big deal. Metal Slug 3. Those are a big deal.
I like that Metal Slug game. That one's good. Yeah,
Metal Slug 3 and Thief. Those are two nice little exclusives for Xbox. Good job there.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. So mostly I'd say it's about on par with the PlayStation 1. No huge bangers, but at the same time not no huge bangers, but more than MASH. I'm hilarious.
I'm over here marveling at how natural bangers sounded coming out of your mouth.
It's because I'm tired.
Sounded good.
Yeah, thank you. I've been practicing.
You sound hip.
I wake up in the morning and I think to myself,
bangers.
God, Dan loves Star Trek. And then I start saying, first of all, nobody loves Star Trek like Dan. And then I just say bangers over and over again. So the
people are coming up to me. They're saying, "Sir, we can't believe you love Star Trek this much."
Tears.
I know.
Rolling down.
Tears in their eyes. Those people back there, they'll tell you other people love Star Trek more than... Nobody loves Star Trek more than... Who loves Star Trek more than... Me and Rudy Giuliani, we're going in strippers and fuck. There you go. I gave you just every press conference you need to hear.
There it is. All right, so what did May have to offer the GameCube? A whopping 3 games.
Oh.
We have Future Tactics. We have Road Trip. Fine. But we also had Custom Robo, which is also just fine.
Yeah, I've never played it.
On who you asked it.
Yeah.
Its Metascore is chilling around 65.
So it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. There are a lot of folks out there who really like this game. I tried to get into it back on GameCube. It never really clicked with me, but I think it's a neat... I think it's a lot. It's a neat idea. I'm into it. I mean, I'm into it existing. I'm not into actually playing it or buying its games. So, really, doesn't do much of anything for Nintendo, per se.
Sure.
And by per se, I mean literally. It does nothing for them. What did I say about that in my Nintendo report? Let's see. I'm just very curious about this right now. 'Cause I'm trying to remember I can't remember what I said about Custom Robo. And clearly I wrote about it because it's in the title card.
It's not a great sign, Chris.
It's just really a sign that I don't remember things.
It's not a great sign.
It's health
You're
rating.
not fucking old enough for that shit.
Health rating was not so great because right, I remember this now. It was mentioned in Smash Brothers, but I think the last one was Custom Robo Arena for DS. That was a while ago. Sorry, Custom Robo, but yeah, that's I guess by GameCube standards, that's not terrible of a month. It's not great.
Oh, it's all right.
You know, not really writing home about that, but Custom Robo is pretty cool. So May 2004. Okay, this is going to be a little bit difficult to parse. So we've got you've got Van Helsing, we've got Steel Empire, and then we've got a bunch of Game Boy Advance video. Watching grainy ass cartoons on a tiny GBA screen. The wave of the future. This
it was such a cool idea, though.
It was.
Not for nothing.
Especially, because cell phones weren't a thing back then. We weren't watching YouTube on something in our pockets. They were crazy awesome. Oh, shit. May is actually looking really good. So it looks like... I'm not sure if these actually came out in America at this time, but in Japan, they got all the Famicom games. Remember the whole, whole Famicom Classic line?
That was cool.
But then May 24th had Mario vs. Donkey Kong and River City Ransom.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, that's a big win. And the River City Ransom
suck.
Yeah, that does not suck. And the River City Ransom remake on GBA was pretty darn cool too. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Game Boy Advance video, the Famicom games. Yeah, that was pretty solid month. Look at Nintendo pulling in the hits.
Well done.
This one's going to take the cake though, because this is the Nokia N-Gage. There's no way this one's not going to have some solid. Oh,
bullshit
for less rather. The Sims busting out and Ashen.
Acid.
Yes.
I love Acid.
Yes. It's
Tiff's not a big fan, but every now and again for my birthday.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
All right.
We've been recording for a while. It's all right. We're in the den of honesty, Chris.
Is that what they call it?
That's where we're at.
Is that what Tiff calls it, the den of honesty?
That's what I say. I say, chat, I'm going into the den of honesty. She's like, honestly, you're fucking not. Get out of here.
Just don't wake me up. It's fun.
You're not that charming. Get the fuck out.
All right, so it's been pretty lackluster so far. I had some standouts from Nintendo on the 10 and the 20, but now we're in the 30. Now we're in the 30, my good friend. So let's see what's cooking on the Nintendo Entertainment System 30 years ago. So we're looking at 1994. I want May 1994. Were there any NES games in May 94? What do you think? Are there any? Or is this a fool's errand?
NES games?
Yeah, May 94.
No, I don't think so.
There were not. Nope. How long since March? We're going to have one in June. But yeah, March 94 was the last one that we had. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait. Going to try again next month in June 94. It's going to be a doozy. Let me tell you right now. It's going to be a real classic. Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I hope you like sports games, Dan, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're looking at here. May 94. What's cooking? It's July, June, May 94 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. We got ESPN Baseball tonight. Not tomorrow night, tonight. We got FIFA International Soccer. We got Jeopardy Sports Edition. Pirates of Dark Water. Relief Pitcher. Rex Ronan. Space Ace. Spectre, Super Pinball, Behind the Mask, Suzuka 8 Hours, Clay Fighter Tournament Edition, Andre Agassi Tennis, and that is it.
Well, all right.
That's what you hang your hats on this month. Yeah, no. That's
it's not great.
I mean, I guess the first in FIFA International Soccer is kind of a big deal.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know that it's not. I'm asking.
Yeah. Super Pinball Behind the Mask is okay. Yeah, no, it's just not great. It's just not wonderful. Let's see how about the Sega Genesis. And you know what? I don't think the Sega Genesis did all that great either, because these are the ones I looked at when I thought, like, all right, what are we up against? What are we looking at? Is it going to be a good month, or is it going to be a boring month? And I pulled up the Super Nintendo and said, oh, no, that's not great. What did the Genesis have? Not much better. But I do think it is actually better because of one game. So, May 94, we've got Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, ESPN Baseball Tonight, Jam It, Pirates of Dark Water, Shanghai 2, World Series Baseball, College Football's National Championship, Animaniacs, RoboCop vs. Terminator. But I think the one that actually puts this over the top is Mutant League Hockey.
That's pretty good. I do like how you said, with nary a breath in between, Animaniacs, RoboCop versus Terminator, as if that's one game.
Is it not? Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah, Mutant League Hockey is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Jam It's not.
No.
ESPN Baseball Tonight.
What
yeah,
I
it's a big
find,
old bag of woof.
Yeah, it's not great. What I find interesting is that I sometimes go back. Most of the time, I forget to do it, but I sometimes go back and look at the records that came out in the time frame that we're talking about. And I got to tell you, while May 1994 might not have been good for video games all that much, fucking music was killing it. First of all, the Mortal Kombat album came out. So that applies also to video games, and that's awesome. Okay, so 1994, May 31st, Mortal Kombat comes out. But legitimately, and I'm not even like bullshitting, Toad the Wet Sprocket Dulcinea came out. Biohazard came out in May. G-Love and Special Sauce. There was a new Violent Femmes record that came out. Where I just went past it. Beastie Boys' Ill Communication came out. Sunny Day Real Estate, and Weezer's Blue Album. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
That's like, Jesus. Video games took a backseat to music.
Yeah. Music hit hard. Good job.
Shit. I mean, just Beastie Boys and Weezer. Good God. There's Jeru the Damager album. Anyway.
Well, anyway, let's see how the Sega CD did. The Sega CD had Star Wars Chess. And that's it.
Again. Oh, no, you said Star Wars, not Star Trek.
Yeah,
I do.
Star Wars Chess.
Star Trek. Love it.
With all of your heart. And then on the Turbo Graphics / Turbo CD, we had Big Fat Ball of Nothing. And what about Neo Geo?
That was a good game. Fat Ball of Nothing. You didn't think it would be. It was a weird title for a game, Big Fat Ball of Nothing, but turned out the gameplay loop was pretty satisfying.
May of 1994 saw a Neo Geo game. We got Super Sidekicks 2, the World Championship. It's very exciting.
That is very exciting.
I'm excited, Siffle.
I don't know that one.
I don't know it either. I don't really know Neo Geo all that well. I know that we finally got a month. We finally got a month of 3DO games. Let's see how the 3DO did. All right, we've got Mega Race, Family Feud, John Madden Football, The Incredible Machine. I fucking love that game. Jurassic Park Interactive, Super Wing Commander, and that's it. That's not terrible. That's actually not really bad at all. Yeah. For 3DO, especially The Incredible Machine, I love that game. The original John Madden Football on 3DO was kind of a big deal. It was supposed to be one of those system celery type games, as being a very modern version of that. Yeah, okay.
It's no foot-vaulted beast, but it'll do.
what is? Really, what could ever really be? John Madden's Football
Beast 2.
I suppose you're right. Let's see. The Game Boy had 2 games, Jeopardy Sports Edition and Mickey's Ultimate Challenge, to which I say... And what about the Game Gear? 1994. Working for May 94. We've got Disney's Aladdin.
Yeah, I mean, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
That shit was everywhere.
It's the Game Gear version, but yeah, it's not nothing.
Weezer.
Yeah.
Weezer.
Music really won 1994. Let's head back, all the way back to 1984.
Because when I say Beastie Boys ill communication, does the same thing happen in your head that happens in mine? The do 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 every time.
You know what I think it does now? Galpus hit arcades.
You won't stop.
Arcades of 1984. You won't, and you don't stop. Yeah, and Galaga 3, Galpus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever actually played Galpus. I've seen Galpus before, but I don't know that I've ever actually popped a quarter into that thing.
It's a terrible name.
Yeah.
Galaga is a pretty good name. Galpus?
Yeah, Galaga, Galaxian, Galpus.
That's not a great name.
Yeah, not spectacular.
Isn't it? It's not Galpus. Isn't it Gaplus?
Is it Gaplus? I always thought it was Galpus.
I'm looking at it right now. No, it's Gaplus. Gaplus.
Are you serious? I've been saying this wrong the whole time? Well, because it's Galaga,
worse name.
Galaxian. The first 2 games are GAL. Why would you put the GAP here? How dare you? Namco. 0 out of 10.
Gaplus.
Get bent. Where's Atari 1984? Come on. All right. May
Stephanie.
1984 for the Atari 2600 has Espial, James Bond 007, Pengo, and River Patrol. None of those are games I'm super enthused by. I mean, I know Pengo, not Pengu. Ugh.
Been saying that wrong this whole time, too. Pengo and Galpus. Fuck. There goes all our credibility, Kris.
Damn it. Flush it all away. I gotta start being a right-wing grifter. I gotta start hating people on Twitter. That'll get us the audience. That'll win him back.
Namco, short for Nazi?
More like Mamco. Right? Ms. Pac-Man or dorky little Bo.
She's not hot enough. Wear her tits.
Make gaming great again. May 1984 for the Intellivision saw absolutely nothing. But May 1984 for the ColecoVision saw Choplifter, Dreadnought Factor, James Bond 007, and not Cobra, Super Cobra.
Oh, Super Cobra's dope. Choplifter's fucking dope, too.
Yeah.
I like Choplifter a lot.
I seem to remember the
ColecoVision. It's a really, really solid game.
Oh, wait, no, that wasn't ColecoVision. That was Atari 5200.
Wow.
Oh, I was looking at
I stand by it.
Yeah. Still good games. Let's see.
Choplifter's still dope.
ColecoVision had... Ooh, ColecoVision did way better. Aqua Attack, Blockade Runner, Burger Time, Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park, Destructor, Facemaker, Fraction Fever, James Bond 007, Learning with Leaper, Roller Venture, Threshold, and War Games.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. Yeah, the fucking solid. ColecoVision Burger Time is really, really good. It is hard to communicate to people who have no idea what the fuck Cabbage Patch Kids are, how big of a deal Cabbage Patch Kids were.
Yeah, they were a big deal.
And, like, the fact that shit got a game is just nuts.
Well, it was Coleco.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. They did make
Coleco did make them, so naturally we'd see some of that. And that seems to be it. There's nothing for Vectrex and no Game & Watch releases, so that lines us up. This was, all in all, exactly as lackluster as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, the clear winner 10 years ago is fucking Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Just
Because that game is still
good game.
bestseller. Yeah, great game. Well worth it. Boy, I hope next month is better. Next month's June. Next month's my month. My birthday month. I still don't know what I want to do for my birthday. But I'll tell you what it's not. It's not going to be...
Get into the den of honesty.
Get into the den of honesty. That's not going to happen. No, I'm not going to be spending my time playing James Bond on Atari 2600 on my birthday. That's for sure.
I don't know. You might.
That's true.
Maybe something weird will happen and it'll be like, Kris, we need you to fucking write about James Bond. I know it's
Bond
your birthday.
2600. You do this or your family dies. One or the other. You're going to write to save their lives.
This is so serious.
That's an action movie.
Who knew?
Oh my God. All right. That's it. That's it for me. I'm all out of brains. We used them all up. And that is it for the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Join us next time when it will be time once again for the SAG Cartoon Express, where we will have Dr. Dean DeFalco joining us in a vest with no pants to watch The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, the episode we mentioned before. I honestly can't. No, darn it. But there's check out our Discord or the show notes. It'll have a link to the episode that we're watching of The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3. Oh, you know what? He just texted me the other day. That's the fastest way for me to find it. Where is that Dean text? Was The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 Season 1, Episode 12, Misadventure of Mighty Plumber. Strap yourselves in, folks. That's going to be a winner. That's Mario. That's Mario cartoon without Captain Lou. I'm very excited. And that's it. We're on most social media platforms, and if you'd like to get in touch with us, you know what? I fixed this. Hold on. I swear to God, I fixed this script before, and now it's all missing again. Like, where is this last sentence from my script? I know I don't need it. I should have it memorized by now, but I want it to be there, and I don't know why it's not.
Just in case. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Oh, never mind, it is there. It's right in front of my face. What's wrong? Whatever. Don't stop. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we are very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to it in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated by mail. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making this show listenable for all you folks, assuming that he's here. He disappeared halfway through the show. We don't know what happened to him. I know.
But we'd also like to
something could have happened.
Could have. But did it?
It could have been serious. I don't know.
We'll find out. Anyway, thank you all for listening in the first place. That is it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.